All right, folks, welcome back to episode 30 of the Ginger Ball Podcast. We have a lot of shit to get to, so we'll get right into it. But Beck, first, how the hell are you doing, brother?
Doing terrific. Ready to talk, just immense amount of ball with you. Yeah, so excited.
Immense amount of ball with you. Let's go. Special start. We're going to hit college football, NFL, and the NBA on this pod. Let's start up top with the college football playoff. A pretty shocking weekend, honestly, the results wise. I guess you picked Indiana, but only two of our four picks hit. Even if you count that one for you, only one of my four hit. Let's start off top with the first game. Miami shocking Ohio State. That defense, Mario Cristobal's got that defense playing really well. Fletcher running the ball really well. What'd you see from Miami, and can they keep this going?
Physicality, a lot of physicality. And we mentioned that this defense is going to be real. And we kind of hit it on the nail in terms of score, I feel like.
Yeah.
We were right there with that. But, there's game defining plays here. Like the pick six is really
Yeah.
what stands out on. And I think that's Jeremiah Smith's fault. I know Stan's going to get the blame for that, but that's a missed block by Smith that you got to make there.
Yeah.
Game-changing play. But Smith, he was the only one who really brought it on the outside for Ohio State. Like, Carnell Tate, bad showing for him, man.
Supposed to
Bad
be
show,
like the fifth pick in the draft. I don't know,
yeah,
man.
like some. I kind of agree with the consensus on Twitter. Like, this was a BTJ sophomore season kind of game to put on tape, just in terms of being soft over the middle. And I think that's ultimately what costed them. If they had another game breaker on the outside, I think they would be able to pull off that comeback from 14 down. But yeah, it was the reverse of what you said too. Like, how will Ohio State look when they're down 14? You said, how would Miami look? And it's kind of like what you would have thought you would see from Carson Beck. So very interesting game to see. But I think we both had an inclination that was at least going to be like a very good game. Like, we definitely didn't think Ohio State was going to beat the brakes off them, but tough way to end the year for them, man.
Yeah.
Like, two straight losses. Definitely
Big
feels
Ten
like they
shake.
got
Yeah.
exposed a little bit. And now where do you go from here? Like, college football is also crazy because you're just going to see a new guy at
Yeah,
the
it'll be a
helm
new team.
yeah, especially just quarterback wise. So you're going to have a new guy at the helm next year, and probably going to come down to if he can, like, Ohio State seems to go for just a game manager. So can he manage the game well enough? And
Is saying gone?
probably, like, do you think he's gonna? I just can't see him still starting next year for some reason. I feel like college football's a revolving door. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass on that one, but like, nah, I could easily see him gone.
Yeah, I would be pretty shocked if he transferred just because I don't see what's in it for him, just because I think his stock's probably about as low as it has been all season. I do think there's questions though about, like, if you're Ohio State, do you believe that this is the guy that's going to take you to the promised land? Like, you had you had the best receiver in the country. You had Bo Jackson was a stud down the stretch for this Ohio State team. You had the run game going. All he really had to do was not make mistakes and sort of manage the game, because that defense was great and they could sort of control games. And I think you saw in their two biggest games of the season, and even in the Michigan game, I was very impressed with saying in the second half of that game, but he came out and threw a pick immediately in that Michigan game, and it kind of looked like the stage was pretty big for him. And then you saw in the Big Ten chip, and then in this game, it just if I'm Ryan Day in Ohio State, I do think there's something to be said about, like, maybe you bring in another guy just to, like, have in the program, and then maybe there's some questions to be asked when camp rolls around next year. But I do think Sand probably comes back and starts week
I,
one next year.
no, I
Like,
feel like he could easily transfer to just another like blue chip title contender, on maybe on like a little bit less of a Ohio State level, but like
yeah.
right there, who's going to be expected to be in the mix. That I think college football is the most musical chairs sport that
Oh
we have
yeah.
out there right now. So wouldn't be surprised to see him gone. But do you, in terms of eye test, I don't really think he gave off a different feel than Will Howard did. Like, do you think he's a marginally worse player than Will Howard is? No, I think they're the same exact. They did the same exact thing. Like, there's really nothing different than both of them to me.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, Will Howard, I would say maybe you trusted him more in big moments, because we haven't seen saying, like deliver in a big spot yet for Ohio State, and I think that's the one thing.
You
I
don't count the
think
Texas game? Like,
yeah.
even though it was a low scoring game,
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's fair. But like I don't know. I want to see him and I guess I'm not giving enough credit for that Michigan game too. And I did allude to the second half he played, but I don't know. There's just something it doesn't feel like he has maybe it's like some intangible like a moxie kind of thing or one of those bullshit buzzwords, but like there's just something in it that feels like I don't have a ton of faith in him coming from behind. In the same way that we talked about with Miami, and maybe we should get to Carson Beck and how he sort of I don't think he like, you know, bent the world with his performance, but he
yeah,
did what he had to do to
yeah,
win
he
that game.
didn't fuck it up.
Exactly. And that's all Sayan had to do in all reality. Like, I mean, a play here, a play there, and Ohio State wins this game. And you can look at his two picks, and I agree with you on the one, especially on the pick six. Like that's just a tough break. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't make mistakes in that game, they're moving on. And we're probably talking about them maybe being a favorite in their next matchup. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. So I mean, looking ahead, do you think that Miami can continue this run? Or do you think this was just like this was their crowning moment and then kind of anything else is just extra?
Yeah, I think a matchup with Ole Miss is easily a game that could go either way.
I
Um,
love that clash of styles too.
yeah. So that I'm not going to say that they can. I'm not going to say that they can't. They have the ability to. I think it's going to be that game's going to be a one score game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it'll come down to can they stymie Trinidad in
Yeah.
that offense. But like I mean and also if even if they do play well enough defensively, I think the one thing we learned in that Ohio State game is they don't need to be explosive offensively. Like I think a lot of times what I was hoping for in Carson Beck and this Miami team was I wanted to see them sort of blitz someone with their offense. And it doesn't really feel like they have to. And I think Cristobal knows that. Like he's really leaned into the run game and just playing hard-nosed defense. And I think that's the formula, especially against an Ole Miss team that if you dominate time of possession and you keep Trinidad off the field, that's how you win that game. Like that's really the only chance they have, and that's how they want to play. So I think that'll be an interesting one. I didn't see what the line was for that, but that's an interesting one to sort of look ahead to. But
Yeah. I would bet Miami's favored by like 3.5, or maybe even a little less, 2.5.
yeah, it'll
But
be tight.
I would bet Miami is the favorite in that game.
Yeah, I might lean them. We'll get into our picks, but
Yeah.
and then the other one, I think let's be quick with this one.
Give me one.
Oregon blanks Texas Tech, 23 zip. And I think a lot of we both picked Oregon in this one, and I think what we were sort of expecting to happen in this game, maybe not to the same extent that it happened, but Oregon's defense just completely shuts out Texas Tech, and they didn't really seem like they had any answers. Dante Moore wasn't even good in this game, and the
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
game wasn't like explosive. Like they had a couple rushing touchdowns, but it didn't feel like they could just break off a run at any time. Like it was a lot of just sort of pick up a few yards here, a few yards there, and then just lean on that defense. What'd you see in this one? And what do you think about Oregon going forward?
Yeah, Oregon had physicality on both sides of the ball. Texas Tech only had it on defense, and
Right.
the amount of time that Texas Tech's defense was on the field was
Yeah.
legitimately insane. But yeah, I feel like this was the game that I hit on the nail. You as well. Dante Moore, again, not impressed, not
No.
moved at all. But the physicality from Oregon's defense was amazing, and they made the plays that they had to make. I The only thing I was surprised about in this game is just how like Texas Tech legit looked inept, where it almost makes it tough to analyze this game because it felt like they were so inept out there and
Yeah.
couldn't do a damn thing that was worth a shit. And it makes it hard to really judge Oregon off this game. But it was a must win for Dan Lanning. Like that's a game that he had to have. Now you're in the Final Four, and this is the real test against Indiana, which again I think they're outmatched.
I do too.
I really think it will be a repeat of what we saw in Eugene,
Maybe
because
worse.
you're facing a team that can match you with physicality on both sides of the ball, but I think their offense, yeah, can get busy on this defense.
I can't wait to talk about
Sur-
Indiana.
yeah, Surratt is the real fucking deal, man.
Yeah.
And it's Indiana's the story about the season is Indiana, and hopefully Ole Miss gets to the final too. So like that is the perfect narrative final right there.
Yeah.
Indiana versus Ole Miss.
I fucking love that as a even Indiana Miami like
Yeah.
any of those would be fun. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Indiana. But yeah, I do want to say I think as you just mentioned, this was a huge win for Dan Lanning and this Oregon team. Like I think as we talked about last week, I think Oregon's program in general has in recent history has lacked sort of a grinded out win like this in a big moment like this. And I do think Texas Tech was probably, I mean, we can talk about how bad Alabama was, but Texas Tech was probably the worst team left. And
Yeah, you can certainly say that after the conclusion of this one. Just you could chalk it up to nerves until that they got that 50-yard run that was kind of a fluky play, and
yeah,
that kid should have kind of settled them down, and they were still fucking ass
no.
after that, and nothing to speak for. So yeah, I'm chalking it like I think Texas Tech was at least 50% of how bad they looked compared to how good Oregon's defense looked. It's really tough for me to kind of give Oregon a full amount of credit just because I really think Texas Tech's offense was just so fucking shit this game.
Yeah, it was a tough watch. I mean, the whole game was a tough watch. And Morton was just abysmal in
Terrible.
this one.
Deer
Yeah.
headlights.
And we talked about that, how I mean, at some point you do need to make plays. And all the teams that won in this round, their quarterbacks, I mean, except for Dante Moore, I think all their quarterbacks did enough to win that game. It wasn't just like even Beck, like I think he managed the game well, but I also think he made plays when they needed them. And Morton just he didn't get anything going at any point. There was never like a whiff of it where you felt like, okay, maybe this is where they started, sort of turn it on and get back into this game. And I mean, if your offense can't get going at all, like Oregon, even with Dante Moore playing like shit, is going to beat you. So let's move on to, I mean, this is the story of the college football season. As you said, this is the story in sports right now. Kurt Cignetti's Indiana. Fucking Hoosiers, baby. Just laying it on
Yeah.
the fucking dude. I take back everything I ever said last week. I want to pull that podcast from every streaming platform you ever put it on because I disrespected the fuck out of these boys. And
Yeah.
that was just, I mean, a dominant
I mean,
performance.
I picked Indiana to win, but I thought it was going to be close. And
Yeah,
I was dead wrong in the fact that Alabama can't run the ball.
yeah,
I
which we
should,
talked about.
yeah, but I should have known that Indiana's defense would have been able to expose that at the
Yeah,
end of the day. I let my belief in Ty Simpson as a prospect kind of
which,
overshadow that. And I mean, he looked terrible.
yeah,
Yeah,
also cracked rib, I think, but fucking
yeah,
A, man.
he looked terrible, but I mean, Indiana is the best team in the country, man.
Yeah.
And I am very confident in saying that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like pissed at myself. I was kicking myself watching that game because we talked about it for like an extended period about how literally the matchup was so bad for Alabama because they have no run game and Indiana's run defense is one of the best in the country and their offense is just so efficient. Like it's the worst possible matchup for Bama.
Yeah.
And I still with a straight face said, all right, Bama's winning this game. But I mean, I don't think that I quite realized the machine that this Indiana offense can be because the way that they won that Ohio State game, I sort of saw that as their formula, sort of grinding it out with the defense, and which probably will be the formula going forward. I don't think we're going to see like this level of just fucking explosiveness from their offense every single game in these last two rounds, but I mean, man, they really do have everything. Like you go from front to back on both sides of the ball. The offensive line's great, the defensive line's great. The quarterback's the best player in the country. The running backs looked awesome down the stretch. Surratt, as you said, is a dog. Cooper's a dog. Even what's his face?
Charlie Becker.
Becker's a dog. Like this is a as complete a team as we've seen in college football in years, and I feel like an idiot for not seeing this sooner. I knew they were a great team. I didn't quite realize that how special this group is, and I mean, I don't see any reason why they're not hoisting the trophy in a couple weeks here.
Yeah. It's awesome to see, man. Like a new blue blood just kind of developing in real time. Amazing to see. Who could have pictured this 2 years ago?
Yeah, and he's literally the anti Kiffin. Like
Yeah.
he easily they just had to extend him again, even though they just extended him what after last season, because you just got to keep paying this guy to stay, and he doesn't want to leave. He said
Yeah.
it in every press conference he's been in. Why would I ever leave? This
Yeah.
is the new powerhouse, and like that's fucking badass, dude. Like build it
Yeah,
there.
he's every counterpoint to what Kiffin did, and that's why I was very, against Kiffin just jumping ship when he had this team with Ole Miss, and I feel like Ole Miss, their production and what they've been able to do in this playoff solidifies that.
Yeah,
I mean, you can if this guy gets to the fucking national championship game at Ole Miss, then that's his program now,
yeah.
and you just handed it to him.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like if you look at the trajectory of the programs, then maybe you could say like Lane Kiffin injecting some of, his recruiting prowess and some of his coaching ability into that program could help. But I mean, what you talked about a few pods ago, like right now, he looks like a dumbass. And I mean, Ole Miss, they're still in it, man. Like I think and especially in this Miami matchup where it sort of feels like a coin flip, if you get them in a title game, who knows, man? Like, and Kiffin could just miss out on what could have been like his step into that tier of coach that he wants to be, which is that Saban sort of, the elite of elite coaches in college football history. And he might have just missed the boat on it,
Yeah,
which is nuts. But and then let's round it out with that Ole Miss win. Just an incredible performance from Trinidad and a hilarious post game. They call him Trinidaddy in the locker room. Crazy, crazy work. But what we see in that game and how were they able to beat Georgia?
they won it, man. I can't say any. My kind of thesis on this game and how the world where Georgia loses was they shoot themselves in the foot.
Mhm.
I can't really say they did. Ole Miss made some fucking incredible plays that they only they could fucking make probably. Like the throw on the run deep
Dude.
from Chambliss. I mean, it's one of the most special throws you could possibly picture. Yeah,
The
I
flip too, the
yeah.
little flip.
Yeah. And I didn't put enough stock into the first matchup either, where Ole Miss was able to have success against this Georgia team. Yeah, man. Crazy game. Crazy game. One of the best watches I think we've had in the college football playoff in this 12 team form. Probably the best watch we've had in the 12 team format the last two
Oh
years.
yeah.
But yeah, the play Georgia had to make was getting, not settling for three to tie the game. And they get seven there and get a 4 point lead because it kind of felt foregone at that point that Ole Miss was going to go down and get a field goal before time expired.
Yeah, and we talked about it. We said, which coaches do you trust in these big games? We literally talked about Kirby, and I said I trust the fuck out of him, and you said, well, in some big
Yeah,
moments.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sold. I've never been that sold on Kirby Smart, but I still don't think this game's on him.
No,
Funny
not at
enough,
all.
I really think Ole Miss made some plays that you couldn't fucking envision them making, and not just that throw on the run, like another throw on the run where I don't even know how to describe this play. It's rolling left, jumps in the air, tosses it to his running back. His running back is popped, still gets forward 3 yards. Like,
Also, Lacey, yeah, he's a dog
yeah,
too.
yeah, that's the shit that I mean, it takes the air out of your sails. And then Georgia's defense after that point was just barbecue chicken. Felt really good about Georgia taking this game up 21-12 at half,
Yeah,
but not being able to put that one away is pretty gut wrenching.
yeah. I also thought Gunnar Stockton was
Yeah,
really
I
good in
mean,
this
he played
game.
with some
Like,
fucking guts.
yeah, I
The
love.
only thing,
Yeah,
only
go
thing
ahead.
I'll say, last play of the game where they're
Yeah,
lateraling it around, that he starts dropping
just
back
takes
after.
just takes the hit
I mean,
too.
that was fucking comedy. I mean,
I
I
feel
said
like
this
that's
guy
how
can't speak
every one of
serious.
those plays ends is just like somebody just like is a dumbass and then just ends up like taking a tackle. It's
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, he dropped back like he had
yeah,
like a clean pocket. It was,
like he's about to load up.
but I
Yeah,
mean, well, whatever. I mean, that's besides the point. But I thought that was pretty funny.
yeah. No, but I do think that was sort of the premier game of the playoffs so far, and I just can't say enough about how well Trinidad played in that game, and he was excellent the first time those two played as well. And what a weird thing with this whole thing is everybody sort of assumed that Trinidad was coming back next year. And now you look at it and you're like, huh, you start to look at the board with the QBs that are in the draft, and he's 23. Sure, he could come back for, a sixth year and play until he's 24. Is he's a better prospect than Dante Moore, isn't he?
He's one game away at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
he's in Drew Aller's shoes of last year.
right. Like if I'm
I mean, Drew
him,
Aller had talked for the number one quarterback before that Notre Dame game last
yeah,
year.
he did. I
And
mean, everybody thought he
I
looked like Josh Allen.
yeah, I think if he doesn't shit his brains out and make that interception that he threw at the end of the game there, he's probably going to the draft. But that killed it right there.
Yeah. I just think, is there anything that Dante Moore's put on tape that like comes anywhere close to some of the heights we've seen with Trinidad? Not even in this game, like throughout this season with the running ability and some of his playmaking.
From what I've watched of Oregon, no. I would say absolutely not. Maybe there's some, fine details that people who actually
Right.
evaluate quarterbacks for a living would point to that would be different, but I would say no. And it may come down to, to sometimes it really is like the eye test of the casual fan
Yeah.
outlives like the takes from people who just have a prospect in mind from the start of the year and pencil them in, kind of like a Zach Wilson thing. Like maybe that's the way this plays out, but maybe we're dead wrong too. But I would say I would like Chambliss as a prospect way more. Yes.
Yeah. It just I'd be well, yeah, I guess it will depend. He's also gonna play a great Miami defense in this next round. But I mean, if he puts up another good performance, even if they lose, if he plays well, I don't see why you don't cash the chips in now. Like and that sucks for Ole
Yeah.
Miss, obviously, because I think they're expecting to have him back and lead another title charge, especially if they lose. But
Never know it
man,
nowadays too with how much money is in college
that's
football.
right. I mean, they could offer him more money than a
Yeah.
rookie deal. So, but yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, man, like if Indiana wasn't on this run that they're on, this Ole Miss story would be that. Like it's really special the way that they've been able to like galvanize the troops and just fucking ball out considering the
Yeah.
circumstances. Like this is a brutal, brutal set of circumstances
Yeah. I
where
mean, I'm telling you again, if we end up getting an Ole Miss Indiana final, it's the best like kind of
yeah,
pregame
win-win.
storylines that
Yeah.
and narrative that college football's seen in, my lifetime.
I also
I feel
think
like you couldn't script anything crazier than this.
Yeah. I also think in that matchup, I think we'd have to see Mendoza do something that I don't think he's had to do to this point. He's had to do it on a lesser extent in some of their Big Ten matchups, but I think him having to like win a shootout and like a duel would be so fun to watch. Because even though he's
Mhm.
been excellent, I don't think we've fully seen him like uncork it yet and
Yeah,
just like have to throw the ball 35 times.
agreed.
Yeah, so I would love to see that matchup in the final. Let's make our picks for the semifinal.
Yeah.
All right. So first up, we have Miami versus Ole Miss. We already talked about this a little bit, but just a great clash of styles here. You have the explosive Ole Miss offense going against a great, great Miami defense and a good run game for them. Who are you taking in this one?
Going Ole Miss and
Let's go.
but this is gut feeling and kind of bias with what I want. I'm with the storyline right now.
Yeah.
Give me Ole Miss. And again, that I truly feel that they went out and won that game against Georgia. I don't think they were given anything on a platter from Kirby Smart with dumb decisions or anything like that. I think they went out and they made the necessary plays in the key moments to win that game.
Yeah. I want to pick Miami in this one because I think that their defense, if they get Trinidad in some of the situations where he's scrambling and having to make plays on the fly, I can see a world where some of those decisions and some of those plays end differently against Miami's
Yeah,
defense.
like turnovers.
Yeah.
That's a fair
Like,
point to make. Yeah.
like I think there's a script where like Miami's defense just like makes them look bad. I just this whole Miss defense isn't bad either. Like I think we get lost in like some of these big high scoring duels they've had with some of the better teams in the country, but it's not a bad defense. And they're going to give Miami trouble too. And really what it comes down to is I just trust Trinidad to win this game. And I trust Ole Miss more. I think they have more playmakers. I love some of Miami's offense. Obviously Corley and their running back Fletcher, but yeah, I just trust Trinidad to make enough plays. I don't think I'd be surprised if he had that type of dynamic performance that he just had, but I think he'll do enough. Let's move to Indiana, Oregon. little rematch of that game we saw in Eugene earlier this season that Indiana won a tight one by the skin of their teeth. Who do we have in this one?
I'm going Indiana. I kind of feel like they dog walked them a little bit. Not maybe it won't show on the scoreboard as like the complete ass beating that like an Indiana Alabama game was, but
Yeah.
I feel a 23-7 game incoming.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're dead on with how this game's going to go. I'd be surprised if Oregon's defense allowed Indiana to dominate
Yeah.
them on that side of the ball, but yeah, especially the way Dante Moore's playing. Like if he had two great performances and then was coming into this game hot, I'd maybe think otherwise. Even then, it's just I don't see any world where Oregon wins this game, or even like I don't even really see a world where they're like within a score.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe
They're
we
gonna
look
be.
dumb, but
I just feel like they're gonna be hanging on for dear life from the first kickoff.
yeah, I just don't think that offense has enough. Like I mean I haven't seen it, so until they
Me
prove
too.
otherwise,
Their running game suspect to me too.
it is. Even in that Tech game,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah, so we both go Indiana and we both go Ole Miss. Fucking A, bub. But yeah, it should be a fun set of games here. Pretty stoked. We have the first game Thursday and then the Indiana Oregon game on Friday. And just looking at it, like these four teams, just before the season, I would have never thought this would be the Final Four, man.
Yeah.
Like unreal
Yeah.
stuff.
Awesome.
Absolute cinema.
Actually what college football like needs. So
Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right, but let's move to the NFL. Obviously, week 18, for the most part, pretty dog shit slate of games. We had a ton of teams just kind of either tanking for a pick or resting guys for the playoffs if they were in and locked into a seed. But we did have a few games with some pretty huge implications. One of which ended up not mattering at all, which is probably for the best. That Bucks Panthers game in the rain, just absolute shit show of a game. And like the weather
shit
was
show of the
perfect.
refs.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
Yeah, no, I thought that was uh yeah, the top three worst officiated game of the season. They barred on. Oh, it was disgusting to watch. Yeah, I'm happy the Panthers are in. I didn't want to see the Bucks at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still have I hold out hope for the Panthers, man. I kind of this game, like although they lose and it's not great, I don't think that they will put on a disgusting display in the wild card round against the Rams. I don't at all.
yeah. I think the Rams defense. I mean, we saw it the first time these two played. Like, I think the Rams defense you can get at them. And I think the Panthers run game will be much better against the Rams than it was in this one against Tampa, which, I mean, you get 20 total yards out of Chuba and Rico combined against the Bucks front. I know Vita Vea is in there plugging it up, but like, fuck, man. That's
Yeah,
a
it's a lot of
shocking.
it's a lot on Bryce's shoulders right now.
Yeah.
I don't think he played particularly bad either. I think
No, he was fine.
Canales is gonna have to like take the training wheels off here and just let him sling it. Let him go down firing. Because I mean, Tet's the real deal, man, and Tet's still gonna give this Rams defense a hard time. And the Rams have had a month of not playing good football, man.
Yeah,
Like we really
absolutely.
got to say that at this point. And I would still trust them. Like if I gun to my head, I'd still think I'm taking them to win the NFC.
Wow.
But the gap is closed. Like when I said I felt like there's a gap. Not anymore, man. Like the Falcons game, terrible.
Yeah.
Even the last week against the Cardinals, where yeah, I don't know how much stock you can put into that, but I mean it wasn't great at all either. And Panthers beat this team the first time around, and
Yeah.
it's in Carolina. So
Home Panthers, baby. Come on.
yeah, did the Seahawks break that juju? We'll see. But let Bryce rip it, man. Let Bryce rip it. It's got to be the formula for the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm also glad you brought up that Seahawks game because it did kind of feel like that Seahawks Rams game ever since that game and even before it, like something in the Rams, like some of the magic kind of feels like it died a little bit. They don't feel like the same like explosive team that they were. And I was so confident in them coming out of the NFC 5 weeks ago. And now, I mean, we'll get to the Rams, but I I do think that the Panthers there's a world where they win that game, especially at home, and they'll have to muck it up, I think. But just insane way that the Panthers get in with that Falcons Saints game being the deciding factor. Tyler Shuck looked like a dog in that game, by the way. I love him, man.
Yeah.
But like the Saints without Olave and half their Kamara, half their fucking team, that being the decider of that division is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Chuck still played pretty well considering
Yeah, he's
all
special.
that. Yeah.
It's so funny. We were like 3, 4 weeks into the season. We were talking about how we thought Rattler was like bona fide franchise
Yeah.
quarterback, and now we're sitting here like, actually, the other guy's really fucking
Yeah.
good.
I still think Rattler's got a future though.
Yeah, I don't think he's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably
Yeah.
a backup though.
Yeah. He's gonna, I hope he gets another shot. I do.
Yeah, I mean, he probably will have a chance. There's going to be a lot of openings. But yeah, so the NFC South is decided. We have the Panthers. Let's move on to that one seed matchup between the Seahawks and the Niners. Another tough watch for different reasons. I think this one was just the Seahawks defense absolutely suffocating the Niners. And honestly, the Seahawks offense really gave me some worries in this game because
Really? I
we
thought they were able to move the ball. I'm not
but
mad about this offensive performance at all.
but it's the way they did it to me. It's the fact that they relied on a run game that this season has been very hit or miss, I'd say. And I think we've been waiting for that Kenneth Walker Charbs sort of duo to start cooking, but I don't I don't know if Darnold doesn't contribute anything if they're a contender. I don't think I mean, I think if their defense plays that well, they can win any fucking game they're in, but I just think against a better team than the Niners, I would be hard pressed to think that the Darnold thing is just really starting to freak me out in a way that
I mean, but that's a Clint Kubiak thing. Like that's his philosophy.
yeah,
That's how they're gonna play. And also the Seahawks, they've yet to been got yet in this way, but I feel like 10 of their 14 wins this year, or the game is a shit game until halftime on both sides, and then they pull away in the second half. I mean, you can point to the Tennessee game, the Falcons game, the Panthers game. Like there's a ton.
Colts game a few weeks ago.
Yeah, every game it's a shit game till half. They don't really have much of a rhythm going, and then second half they kind of turn it on. And I feel like more so in this game they got a good rhythm going in the first half. Like I feel like the play calling in this game was fine. I thought Darnold was pretty damn good. Like
He was okay. Yeah, the way that they didn't finish off drives, I thought was worrying. Against a 49ers defense that I don't think is very good. I mean, they have like NPCs in the linebacking
yeah,
core but yeah, I mean, I that's the thing. I was just torn because on the one hand, I was like, this defense is so fucking special, and like the way that they can get out to the quarterback with just a 4-man rush, the way that Eman Warrior's playing in that back half, like it's a special group. It just if they are going to and forget contender, if they're going to win the NFC and if they're going to contend for a Super Bowl and potentially win it, I just think that passing attack has to be a little bit cleaner, especially in the red zone. And you're right, that probably just does come down to a Kubiak thing, but it's interesting. Like I don't really know where I stand on the Seahawks right now, which is kind of a weird thing because I was so high on them throughout the season.
yeah,
Um,
I signed them coming in, but no, I think when you have like a thought of what a team ceiling is in your mind, and they go past that, but they're not doing it in the way that you would kind of want them to, then you turn to
yeah,
the heel on them a little bit. It's the same way with Denver. I feel like with you because
yeah,
you're very high on them, and it's just like they're
yeah.
14-3, but they're 14 and
I
3
know, but
in
it
like
feels terrible.
the worst possible way.
The Seahawks doesn't feel like that. Like
Yeah,
Denver to me,
yeah,
it's not even a thought. Like I'm not even like
yeah.
I don't consider them as like which maybe is unfair to me considering how open the AFC is, but I don't consider them as like a real Super Bowl contender.
Because
Um,
they've just nothing redeeming on offense. Like
that
at least
offense is so
Seattle
ass.
has JSN, and they have a play style that you can, they are comfortable playing. Denver, it's like cool. We like the offensive line, but they don't run the ball particularly
Yeah.
well, and they don't pass the ball particularly well, and they don't have a separator on the outside that you're hype about being your number one. Like Sutton's good, but he's had tons of drops this year, and it's not like he certifies himself as an alpha number one every game.
Right. Yeah, it's just what do you hang your hat on? Where
Yeah.
where like I do think and maybe I'm too harsh on the Seahawks because I think you're right. Like At the end of the day, this is what we talked about even in the beginning of the season when we started to see them pull some big wins together. This is better than, I mean, we didn't think they'd be the one seed in the NFC by any means. And like maybe it is too harsh, but I just have that like little bit of doubt that's crept in. And we'll see. I mean, maybe the defense is just good enough that it doesn't matter in this weird like parity filled season, but at the end of the day, they got the one seed and they get the bye. Let's move on to the AFC North. This was a fucking instant classic. I mean, everything. This game had everything you want. It had Rodgers looking better than he has in most games this season. You had a little bit of a run game going with Warren. Even that wasn't really, that's still my issue with that offense. And then you had Lamar making some big plays in big moments. But the way this ends, man, is so fucking brutal for Baltimore. You get Boswell miss that extra point, and it just feels like after the Keaton Mitchell return, it's just on a platter for them. And Tyler Loop steps up, the Justin Tucker replacement, and just never had a fucking chance. That
Yeah.
ball was going right the moment it left his foot. What'd you see in this one? And then what do we think about the Steelers in the playoffs?
I'm thrilled for Rodgers. I really found myself pulling for him in this game, and he was awesome. The game flipped though, and Kyle Hamilton got hurt. Like that's the fucking
Yeah,
story of the game.
yeah.
Then nobody should tell you otherwise. They couldn't really move the ball worth the shit. I know Hamilton went out like it was halfway through the first drive in the second half, right? It wasn't
Hmm.
the last drive of the first half.
Yeah.
So
When
they were
they,
able to
yeah.
they were able to get some momentum at the end of the first half, even though they didn't punch it in after that play call where they run to the weak side, and like that was a terrible play call. But they're able to get some momentum there, and the Rodgers carved them up after the Hamilton injury the whole second half.
Mhm.
And I mean, in the most Rodgers-esque way, but you got to respect it with the fucking receiving core that he had out there. I mean, laughable shit that's what they ran out in a winner go home game. Calvin Austin,
MVS.
yeah, MVS, Adam Thielen at 35 years old, and Ben Skoranek. Like, are we fucking serious, man?
Let's go.
Too funny. But Gainwell's been a weapon. Like,
Yeah. He's a
I
dog.
mean, really, this is like prime time Montgomery. Great win for the Steelers. On the other side, the coverage lapses for the Steelers and just the blunders. It's too much to overlook. Like
It was insane.
that, the first touchdown too is like I feel like that one gets lost because how crazy the fourth quarter was. But
Right.
Ramsey just not even moving from the middle of the field because he
He had a
thinks,
few brutal plays, yeah.
yeah. I mean, the last one, the time jump on that likely catch was terrible. Everything, yeah, he looked lost out there playing free safety. Yeah, not a good look for the Steelers defense at all. But I thought Cam Hayward brought a lot of intensity. Like you could tell
Yeah.
he really wanted it, and you know, it's just wild that the Ravens lose this game by becoming completely inept from 10-0 to beginning of the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
Like why did they look so bad
Why'd they abandon
in
the
that?
run?
Yeah, and
Like, what
just
the fuck are we doing?
but look, Lamar was bad before
Yeah.
that. Like, dude, we're 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and his stat line pops up. It's 5 and 10 for 67 yards and a touchdown. And now with like how that game went in the fourth quarter, and you know how it ends, we're getting told that Lamar gets sold. Like, this Steelers defense is not very good, man, and you can't play 2 quarters of football where you look completely lost. And I think that's the story of I mean, the Ravens and Lamar for big games is that they cannot put 4 quarters of football together on offense where they have it all going for them. At least in a game where, there's an expectation that either side could win. Like every playoff game that Lamar's had, besides the first win that he had against Tennessee in 2020, it's been a foregone conclusion that the Ravens are going to win that game. The Texans, it's with Stroud's rookie season, and then against the Steelers last year with Russ. Those are his 2 other playoff wins. In big games, though, they're not able to put 4 quarters of complete football together. They either get away from the run, and I'm interested to see how much of a Harbaugh thing that is because I'm happy he's
Yeah.
gone. I've been calling for that ever since they, lost to Cincinnati like 4 years ago with Stu Huntley. Like the time has been ticking on Harbaugh for a while in my
Yeah.
head
I
at
agree.
least. Like, and it's the same way. Like even though there's not as much success that he said Steve Kerr like reminds me of Jim Harbaugh just as much. Where the shit's been I've been over it for a while, and I think you got to get some new life in there. So it's going to be interesting to see like not just the head coach but the new OC. And I mean, are they cleaning house? Like, is Lamar there this offseason? I think that's a discussion we get to later. But the Ravens lose this game by being inept for 2 quarters on
Yeah.
offense. That's what it comes down to me. And then Kyle Hamilton getting hurt killed their defense.
Yeah, I think Hamilton's the one that really flipped the game. Yeah, we'll get to Harbaugh because I do want to get to the coaching carousel a little bit after this, but I think when you look at post that Super Bowl, if you look at his body of work in the last 10 years, it's a lot of the same. It's a high floor. You know you're going to get a good playoff team on a John Harbaugh coach team. But it just seems like they fall short every single year and they just keep finding new ways to fall short. And at some point, like I mean, it has to come to a head and you have to part ways. Like I thought that was the only decision there. I honestly thought that whoever lost that game, and maybe even if the Ravens won that game and then bowed out of the playoffs early, he probably still would have been gone. But I think Tomlin probably would have been gone if they lost that game. Like,
I mean, even though it happened, I'm surprised it did.
yeah. No,
I
it's
really
it's
am.
it's shocking to see on your phone. It's just like, holy
Mm.
fuck. And a buddy of mine in the chat said, I just can't picture like the Ravens being coached by anyone else. Like we just haven't known that in
Yeah.
fucking years. So, I mean, it'll be a shock, and also where he goes next will be interesting because I'm sure I know I've seen some reports that the Giants are sort of the front runners to land him, but
Yeah, they're getting him or Stefanski. Maybe
yeah.
both.
So, ooh, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens, it just felt like everything from the Steelers losing that game against the Browns and Snoop balling out against the Packers and giving them life. It just felt like everything was lined up for them to just like get everything back on course, win this game, get into the playoffs. Maybe you make a frisky run because just based on talent, which I think was like on the table, especially before the Hamilton injury. But
I
yeah,
don't. I mean, dude, this game was proof in the pudding of how much patchwork he does because this team gets no pass rush and they
yeah,
looked
that's
they looked legit good on defense for a half of football, which I can't because they have nothing else, man. Like Roquan's a shell of himself, and this pass rush is nothing without Matabike. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, they need some edge support in the draft. They got a lot of work to do on defense, but I think Kyle that this is kind of off the point, but Kyle Hamilton's the biggest proof for why you should go after Caleb Downs high in this draft. Like the safety is very undervalued, and the fact that he can have that much impact on a defense as just one of the 11 guys out there is, I mean, Downs should be a top 6 pick, and I think
Yeah.
he'll fall into like the early teens as Hamilton did. But I mean, the proof's in the pudding with how much impact the safety could have
I
on
mean,
your defense.
as a Packers fan, I can tell you when we got Xavier McKinney, he revolutionized our defense.
Yeah.
We were a top 10 defense last year before Micah. And I gotta say, I mean, in addition to the interceptions, obviously, he put up an unsustainable number of picks last year. But just what he gave to our defense from a tackling standpoint, from being the leader in the back end, like, and now Evan Williams, we have the young guy is also a baller. But like, I agree. I think we've seen, and maybe the Ravens also sort of what we haven't talked a lot about is the way that their other DBs fell off. Like Marlon Humphrey is
Humphrey is
one
just
of the worst
yeah.
corners in like
He's been around for a while though. Like
yeah.
you got a shelf life as a corner, and I mean he came in 2017.
Yeah. I
Like
mean
I mean it's
Alabama.
not surprising, man. We're like almost 10 years removed from when he came in. So
Yeah, it's just but I feel like and then even Wiggins, like Wiggins hasn't been himself,
yeah,
especially the
I
last
I
few
agree with
weeks.
that. Like that was definitely disappointing to see. But I mean the only other piece I really liked for on their defense that I thought showed some signs of life was Gillian, who was a Notre
Yeah.
Dame teammate of Hamilton's for a little bit. Yeah, they got to figure this shit out because I mean this defense, as we kind of, I felt how bad they were 2 to 3 games in, and then they were able to become a good unit for like 5 weeks. It's just weird how this
Yeah, when
whole season
Roquan
went.
came
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't look very good at the end of the season either now. So
Yeah.
you kind of left wondering on everything, man. So that's a big question mark, and that's where I feel like there is potential for them to kind of just blow this thing up because I don't think you can compete with that unit over
No,
full
you
17
definitely
games
can't.
late and then into the playoffs.
Yeah, you definitely can't. And then on the Steelers side, it's just one last thing is like the timeout situation and just the way they managed the end of both games, just from a pure game management standpoint. Like that first half, getting nothing out of that last drive, and then at the end of the
But
game, you use all three
you
timeouts.
go for it there though. It's just the
Oh yeah,
play
yeah, no,
call.
no,
The
no, I
play
don't.
call was just so
Right,
abysmal.
right. That's what I'm
But
saying. I don't mind the decision to
that
go
was
for
another
it.
philosophy thing. Like, and then I kind of feel like the Rodgers with the helmet malfunction, like that was a freak thing. But he can't run the first two. You can't run the play clock down and just like
I
burn it.
I was gonna say I have I
Yeah.
have I have a sort of long standing beef with Rodgers in the play clock because this has been a thing with him since Green Bay, and he's always done this. And I actually got so pissed watching the game on the broadcast because Collinsworth was basically jerking off about how Rodgers tried to get to the line quick to get 12 men on the field for Baltimore, and then he ended up because they were actually able to substitute the players in time. He ended up like getting to the line and then slowing it down and
Yeah,
then
I mean, he still had time to snap the
brings
ball.
it into the
That's what I,
huddle.
yeah.
But he didn't get into the huddle until 9 seconds on the play clock. And then he realized the helmet was fucked. They still weren't going to get a playoff. He was going to have to use one of those timeouts regardless, which has been a thing with Rodgers for as long as I can remember. But that is something I want to keep an eye on is just like how they manage these games. And I think against the Texans,
Game. I mean, this shit's over. I'm happy it ended on this though for them,
yeah,
but I mean, it's over after this game.
Do you well let's wait. Let's wait on that until we get to the previews. But let's talk about now we talked about Harbaugh. Some of the other coaches that were fired were Raheem Morris, obviously, like the second that game ended, which was probably too late, honestly. Like they should have fired him
Yeah.
halfway through the season. Kevin Stefanski, as we talked about, Pete Carroll. Sorry, brother. Like he was like, what were they doing?
Garbage. The Raiders, again, I said it last episode, but can they just get something right, man?
That was like sad. That was just like it's gonna be such a stain on like his career that happened. Like it was just
Yeah.
not good for anyone involved.
Yeah, not just him. I mean, this pretty much ends Gino's career. Like it's over now.
Yeah, yeah, he was abysmal, man.
Yeah.
Gannon, of course.
Yeah, and dude, there was a lot of talk that wasn't going to happen. So
I didn't think it was.
that kind of surprised me a little bit, but thank God, man.
Yeah,
Like that was the most obvious move ever. He should have been the first coach fired.
yeah.
And I said it before the year how shit they were going to be, and they were shittier than I thought. I was fucking bold with that. I said they're going to win 4 or 5 games, and they won 3. They won fucking 3, man. And they won the
Yeah,
first 2 games of the season, 1-14 to finish.
yeah. I mean, also just like you look back, and I don't. I mean, I don't know if you can like blame him for the Kyler decision because from like a macro standpoint, Kyler's time in Arizona just is done. So it like made sense. But when you look back and you see what this season turned out to be, it's a brutal reality that you probably left some wins on the couch. But I mean, the Gannon thing to me, I think that was kind of a no-brainer. Do you think, my first question is, do you think that there are more dominoes to fall fire-wise soon, I guess?
In terms of head coach,
Or do you think they wait till like after the playoffs?
no, I think you get it on Black Friday or Tuesday, but yeah, I don't see anything else happening now. Like, do you have something in mind? Like, do you have Aaron Glenn getting fired in mind? Is that the one you're?
That's one.
Is McDaniel? Yeah, because I feel like
The Aaron Glenn thing to me is interesting because I think he's going to be a lame duck coach next year, which sucks. It always sucks. I think that's like one of the dumbest things you can do as an organization is bring back a guy that you're like on the fence about because you're just going to end up firing him, especially if the situation still sucks.
No, you got to get again when they hired him and we did their preseason picks. I said they're going to be ass, but culture takes time.
Yeah. It's
And
just, do you see it changing next year?
a little bit. You got 2 first-round picks. You got good draft capital.
Say they'd pick Dante Moore.
I hate Dante Morrison. No.
I know, but that's probably who they're going to take. Like, do you see anything changing?
Not if that's the case, but I mean, it can't get worse defensively, which is one thing I
No
say.
picks. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane, dude.
I would hate if they take Dante Moore, man. God damn it. Yeah, I
I
really
think
would
they're
get.
gonna.
There's so many quarterbacks on the market right now that you can get for cheap too.
Yeah.
That can just be a bridge, and that's exactly what they need, and that's exactly what Glenn needs is a bridge quarterback.
Hmm.
I think the bridge quarterback the last 5 years has really that's became such a better option than it had been in the
Oh yeah.
past. Like that can flip your team from like rebuilding to shit. We're like there
Yeah.
in a year or two span. Yeah, just go out and get like Mac Jones or
Dude, I think Mac Jones would be such a
they don't need
smart.
anything special, man. Just clean house, like get Brees out of there because he doesn't want to be there. Bring in another weapon on the outside, like make this team have a little bit of excitement. Then you got like Wilson, another weapon, and Mason Taylor, and then do a little patchwork with the running backs, either in free agency or the draft or a combination of the two. And no, give Glenn a full 17 games to evaluate next year because I feel like if they do that and they manage this offseason correctly, you'll see like signs of life by the last quadrant of last year, similar to how you did with the Lions and Campbell's first season. I feel like the season's just such a wash because the Jets are the Jets and it was a weird transitional year. Get a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
That's where you got to start.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think like losing Sauce, losing Quinnen, like they really did lose like the backbone of the defense, which is what Aaron Glenn, like that's his bread and butter.
DJ Reed too. Like
Yeah.
that,
Like he was set up to fail, which sucks. It's not even about him as a coach because we don't know what he is as a coach until he gets like even a semblance of infrastructure and competence. But I don't see a world where the situation gets much better after one off season. I think if they're gonna stick with him, they have to stick with him for like a few years,
yeah.
which I hope they do. I'm not confident in Woody Johnson to do that because I think he's erratic and
Yeah.
he's kind of like we talked about it like he's kind of Jerry Jones light in the
Yeah,
way that
you can't trust these owners who have fucking like 5 to 10 years left to live. I'm sorry, like just
honestly though.
point blank period. It's they want to fucking put a band-aid over a fucking leak,
Yeah.
and no, the mistakes continue to make themselves. So that if I every NFL team should have an owner that's fucking 70 and under. Like
Yeah.
it can't. I'm sorry, it's like fucking old people driving.
But I have two more coaches for you. I want to hear your take on. We have Mike McDaniel and Tomlin if the Steelers lose to the Texans.
McDaniel's not going anywhere. I think they've committed to we're getting Tua the fuck out and we're letting McDaniel
Yeah,
have a year
I
to
think that's fucking so smart by them, by the way.
yeah.
Like
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm so happy that they're
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah, same. I love it as well.
Um,
And being able to kind of salvage the season and not have it be a complete shit show was honestly pretty impressive.
yeah.
Because we were talking about like it feels like the Dolphins, even going into the season, it felt like the Dolphins had a lifespan of 5 weeks before everything fucking hits the fan, and it did. And then they recovered where they were. I mean, you were still talking about them having an really outside
Yeah.
shot, but I mean, the AFC playoff picture this year was very good. But
Mhm.
still, with like 3, 4 weeks left to go before that
Yeah.
Pittsburgh game, like they had a shot. Yeah, I love it. You got to bring in competition for you, whereas I don't think he can be the clear
No.
guy that you're going with next year. So I definitely see them as like a Daniel Jones landing spot. Unfortunately, I don't really love that, but
Coming off an Achilles,
yeah,
dude.
I think I'd like to see McDaniel with somebody more dynamic who's not just like a duck in the pocket, which I kind of feel like Jones off an Achilles will be next year.
Yeah.
Get somebody with a different skill set than Tua, but I'm not sure if McDaniel wants to, which is the one place where I'm kind of like a little wary of him.
Yeah. The what he did to their run game, the way he revolutionized it and just opened everything up for Achan
Yeah.
was special. And even for some of their backups, like right down the stretch was really good. I'm just happy that like this is something that I think more franchises should do. And this is what the Jets should do with Glenn is you sort of see the coach. It's the reason you hired the guy in the first place. Let it run its course and break when you know that he had everything he needed and he couldn't get it done. Otherwise, stick with it because that's the decision you made. That's the guy you hired. The other and on the last coach, who I think by all intents and purposes and reports I've read, it looks like Zach Taylor is going to stay in Cincinnati for at
Yeah,
least for next year. What did you think
don't
of that news?
don't love that, but
I hate that.
comes down to health with them too. Like
Yeah,
he never gets a full year at Burrow, so
yeah. And
except
Brady,
I mean except last year. So
except last year when they kind of fucking sucked.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Taylor thing to me is just that one felt like he reached their height. I think the Super Bowl season, I think he's still living off that.
They're very good the next year though too.
They
They're,
were.
they're
I'm not going to say like that was all he had, but I think if they don't make that run, I don't see a world where he's still their coach.
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
But
like even if it was like a
I
divisional
think
run.
that second year plays a factor into it too, where you're in the AFC chip again and you have the Chiefs down to
Hmm.
the wire. I don't know. They still have a lot of the ingredients of what made them successful back then, but I mean, yeah, I get it. I'm on the fence about him.
Well, here's the
Uh,
other thing. Oh no, continue.
no, that's basically all I had to say. So
The other thing is that they're keeping the GM, Duke Tobin, which is like that one to me is more damning than keeping Taylor because I think most of the issues with the Bengals is just the fact that their defense is a fucking joke, and we've known that, and they haven't addressed it. And
I don't know who's taking that job. It's like an near apparel, but it feels like the Saints of 5 years ago. They have too much money tied to
yeah, well,
like three
but
guys, and they're not a
that's
team that's willing to spend. So you're fucked.
that's
Like,
the other reason why it's crazy to me that he's still there. Like,
no, I mean it's not over yet though. Like they're still gonna run this quarterback, so like maybe they die even more next year, and then he's gone. You know what I mean? Then it's like the
yeah.
because they're not rebuilding. You know what I
I
mean?
just feel like this. I feel like this ends with Burrow going out really sad, and I feel like if it goes the way that it might, that they organizationally might end like genuinely end Burrow's career too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like if that job's open, even with like the fact that you could be the head coach of a team with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, it's like I don't really think people would be clamoring for that job just because the writing's on the wall there. Like you could totally see this shit blowing up next year, like the Dolphins did, or we thought we're going to this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the money situation. Like you're going to a team that doesn't like to spend money. Yeah, you're going to a team that's tied up with money, and you're going to a quarterback who's, very on the fence about being there, like non-committal, a little bit bipolar, like passive aggressive answers. And you
Mhm.
have two wide receivers who probably be packing their bags with him if he's gone, and a defense that's just completely shit. Like
Yeah.
you saw this offense operate at a top tier level for 14 of the 17 weeks last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. Like that's kind of what you feel like the team's ceiling is right now, and there's no obvious fix. This is like yeah. Once they tear it down, it's like a 5 year.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like when the Burrow window does close, it's going to be really bleak. Like
Yeah.
it's a really ugly situation. You also lose Hendrickson after this season, which like it was just a weird year with him from start to finish, with just like the injury and everything that was going on off the field with the contract stuff, especially after they had the restructured deal on kind of like a prove it.
I mean, I feel like we were on the money with that too. We were like, it's probably not going to be
No.
like his time was over, and we felt that should have moved him.
Yeah, it's just like it's a fucking sad way for this like group of Bengals to go out if it does end up going this way. And
Right.
maybe a full season of Bro next year, it just like revamps everything and they make some moves in the offseason. But
You would hope that's what we thought this year, or that was the hope this year. I don't know if we
yeah,
thought that, but that was the hope.
yeah, that was dope. Let's move to the wild card round and let's make some fucking picks, man. We have our matchups. The game starts Saturday and run through Monday night. First game, Rams at the home Panthers. What do you see here and who do you like?
Going Rams in a close one. I don't think they're going to look particularly good or impressive. I think they get the job done though, but the Panthers are covering 10 and a half.
Yeah, that line's
That
crazy.
I promise you.
I saw that. I thought it was going to be a hefty line. I thought maybe the Panthers being at home would bring it down a little. I actually thought it might be like 6.5, but 10.5, man. It's fucking
Yeah,
nuts. The disrespect.
yeah. What I really want to watch out of this game is are the Rams going to play this more conservatively on offense?
Hmm.
Because their formula to lose is just turning the ball over, and Stafford's been putting the ball in harm's way like he kind of did in his prime
Yeah.
Detroit days. And that's how they lost to the Panthers the first time around. It was the turnovers because I mean, they moved the ball well, but the couple plays here and there,
Yeah.
three turnovers in that game for Stafford, and they lost the game on like fourth downs to Bryce Young. I think the Panthers stylistically on that outside with these receivers, these tall body receivers, gives this Rams secondary problems, and I think that will continue.
Yeah. I think the way T-Mac's been playing down the stretch is is going to pose a threat to the Rams. I don't trust their defense, especially what we saw from Bryce in the first matchup. Like he carved them up a little bit, especially in those late downs, as you mentioned. And their run game was really good in that game. You had Rico and Hubbard both going, which is kind of what you'd hope out of this sort of backfield duo. We'll see. Well, I think I'm definitely picking the Rams in this one. If the Panthers won, I wouldn't be as shocked as I may have been before. I'd say like the last 4 or 5 weeks, but it's definitely a possibility. I just think Stafford. I trust that offense. I trust that defensive front, even if I'm skeptical about that pass defense. But I'm gonna go with the Rams in that one too. Let's go Packers at Bears. We get the third matchup. We get a little bit of a rubber match here at Soldier Field. Packers coming in losing four in a row. Jordan
Kicking a
Love
field
hasn't
goal as
played
time
football.
expires.
Jordan Love hasn't played yet. That was fucking
Let's make it
nuts.
16-3.
Yeah, thanks, LaFleur. Let's get a little moral victory. Let's not get shut out. Jordan Love hasn't played football in almost a month. Josh Jacobs hasn't played football in 3 weeks. Like Parsons is gone.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft's gone. What do we think here?
I don't know. At the core of this game, you still got to officially slay the dragon, and like the Packers still own the Bears. Like
Yeah.
that is still the truth. And until the Bears can do it and prove it in a monumental moment against the Packers, a little bit of a passing of the torch, even though I mean
Yeah.
next year you can see these teams being on even playing, an even level. I really want to take the Packers bad because I think there's something to like the Bears. They haven't been able to separate themselves from the Packers at all in these two matchups. And I still think there's a little bit of that big brother, little brother in this matchup. But no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how much better or good you might feel about the Bears, fuck it, man. I'm going the Packers. And I don't think it's convincing at all. I just think it's gonna be a shit game.
Yeah.
I do. I think the Bears they still have bad juju. Like not even just against the Packers. It's just like when they have these really like good seasons out of nowhere, like they did in with Trubisky in his second
Hmm.
season.
Or the Cutler season.
Yeah, yeah. It's just not everything comes together in the playoffs. It's the lights are a little bit too bright. This game's coming down to the wire. We know
Oh yeah.
that, but yeah, give me Packers. I don't feel good about taking either team in this game, but I feel better about taking the Packers just because I feel like that kind of stigma is still being in the air. I'm gonna trust that over two teams that I don't feel particularly great about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game's going to be bad, but maybe not in the way that a lot of people expect. I think this game's going to be really bad defensively. I think both these defenses are putrid. And Jordan Love will be the healthiest he's been in a while in this one. And I still believe in our offense, even without Tucker Kraft. I think it's still a special group. The defense is so atrocious
Yeah,
stopping the run.
that's where I want to go with the Bears, just because like I feel like they'll expose that. You saying this game's gonna be over makes me want to go to Bears because I think if it's a high scoring game, the Bears are winning this game. I think.
I think
I
I
just still see it being low scoring. Just I don't know why.
You
Maybe
think
I'm
low scoring favors the Packers in this one?
yes.
I think if Jordan Love plays poorly, the Packers have no chance. I think they have no
I don't feel
shot.
like that at all. I feel like if you don't see the Bears be able to score in the red zone, move the ball effectively enough, you're going to feel that in the stadium. I think
I could
they,
see nerves. Yeah, like some
yes,
Sixers
yes,
playoff nerves where it's like
yes.
they're like, oh no, not this
Yeah,
bullshit
like
again.
my whole feeling about this game is going to be low scoring, and maybe I'm blinded by the first two matchups. But man, what makes you feel like it's going to be any different than that? I mean, they didn't have
I th
Parsons in that game either,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Bears were just. It's not like the Bears gain anybody on the ground. The Bears weren't able to expose shit in that game.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if the Packers were able to plug the run the same way they were in that game. It's just such a bad group on the defensive front. It's so like laughably bad. Rashawn Gary is an abomination on the edge. They don't get any pass rush. Lucas Van Ness never got going this year. I will say in that 10-pound bag of dog shit that was that performance against the Vikings in week 18, we did see Colin Oliver, a rookie out of Oklahoma State, play for the first time this season for the Packers off the edge, and he did show some glimpses. So I think he's going to get a lot of run in this game. And I think Barron Sorrell out of Texas, the fourth round pick, was fucking excellent. He had 8 tackles and a sack against the Vikings. I think he's going to be a big part too. So maybe if you can piece together some sort of a pass rush and just stop the run enough that Jordan Love can beat the Bears, I think that's the formula. I do think this game is literally just can Jordan just cook. And I think it's also going to be, we talked about coaches being, like you said, McVay being potentially being too conservative in that Panthers game. This is big for LaFleur.
Yeah, no.
You have to let Love cook. You
If
cannot
they
be.
lose, is he out? That's one we should have brought up.
No, no. I don't think so. I think there should
Why
be
not,
more.
man? I
No, no,
mean,
no, no.
that's three
I
straight years of 17.
I
Why
don't
wouldn't?
think they will do it. I think there should be more of a discussion if they don't. I
Okay.
also think that they didn't have Micah, they didn't have Tucker Kraft, and I think that that's going to be part of the equation. But yeah, man, if we especially to the Bears, if you lose to the Bears, you lose 2 out of 3 on the season to them. As you said, I think it would be sort of like a passing the torch. It would be really, really bleak in Green Bay if they were to lose this game, which I mean, if I were a betting man, you know, I would probably put my cash on the Bears, but come on, man. Go back, go, baby. We're gonna ride with Jordan Love
Yeah.
until the fucking
Yeah.
wheels come off.
Love to see
Because
it.
here's the one thing. Until the Bears beat the Packers with Jordan Love playing 4 quarters, I'm gonna pick the Packers. Because the 2 games that the Bears have beaten the Packers in the last 2 years was Malik Willis and Malik Willis. And even the second one, the first one was a walk-off field goal 2 years ago, and the one this time was an onside kick that Romeo Dobbs just drops. So until we see them stop Jordan Love, I'm gonna pick the Packers. And I hope I'm not wrong because this might be the most embarrassing Packers loss of my life, just because it's the Bears.
Yeah.
If they are to lose this game, so for God's sake, I fucking hope we don't lose this fucking game, dude. You won't be able to find me for weeks if we lose this game. But I'm gonna ride with the Pack. Come on, man. I gotta do it. And then we'll get fucking blown out by somebody by the Seahawks in the second
Yeah.
round. The Seahawks would torch us.
Yeah, that's definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, but honestly, like the way that the season unfolded with all the injuries, if we were to go into Soldier Field and win that game, I'm good, man. I'm
Yeah,
good. Let's just
yeah.
get Micah healthy.
I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As fucking depressing as that sounds, like that's where I'm at.
Not really. Like that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like if that 2023 season you had a shot at the Cowboys in the first round, and it was just like, if we can just beat them, then none of this shit fucking matters. Like, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially how they horse raced us the second time we played that year. So yeah,
Yeah,
with you there.
but so we're both rolling Packers. That's shocking to me. I thought for sure you'd be on the Bears, and if I was not,
I haven't been able to get on the bandwagon all year.
yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Let's go Bills at Jags. This one is fucking so tough for me to pick. I have my pick,
I have my pick as well.
and I
And
think we're gonna have the same pick. I'm gonna let you lead off.
I think the Jags boat race them.
Wow.
Like absolutely, I think that's the shocker of the weekend to like all of America. But I think the Jags have all the ingredients to just run the Bills off the fucking field. I
Wow.
really do. And I think a lot of the belief and people picking the Bills comes with all the great quarterbacks that we always see are out, and it's
Yeah.
like Allen's the only one. This is obviously his year. I don't think this is the group at all for the Bills. And another
Yeah.
coach that we didn't talk about, I think McDermott's gone after this game, especially if they
Mm,
get lapped in the fashion
that's a
that I
great
think they
one.
are. Yeah, I think they get absolutely torched, like 40 to 14 type of deal.
Wow.
And I think after this week, the odds, you should probably, like, if you think the Jags beat the brakes off the Bills like I do, you should probably bet the Jags as a future now to go to the Super Bowl because the way the line's going to shift after this
Oh yeah.
week, you can just cash that out for free money. And it's like you'll probably get more than if you bet Jags money line straight.
And also the media storm if they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think a lot of these lines this weekend are off too with the amount of road favorites. I think they have the wrong games with the Packers are favored, which is funny enough. I think it's
Yeah,
one
that's
they have
crazy.
right, but I think the Jags have all like offensive wise. I think they can just expose the Bills in multiple different ways. The run game's been good for 9 weeks. The
Yeah.
pass game's been good for 9 weeks. Like they've had it all, man. And I the Jags and the Texans, I feel the best about the Jags right now. The Texans are still my gut pick just because I think that
To come out of the
defense,
AFC.
yeah, I think that the Texans defense as a unit is still the most special defense in the NFL, and it's one of the most special units I think we'll see in a long time. I think that gets overshadowed week to week because other units like the Seahawks or the Broncos get brought up. But I think top to bottom, the Texans have the best unit. But the Jags are, as a complete team on in all three phases of the ball, they're the team I feel probably the best out of right now, out of any team in the league.
Hmm.
I do. And again, I keep coming back to this on the Bills side for the offense. It's too much of rely on Josh Allen and James Cook. And if they get down early and have to abandon the run, there's nobody on the outside that can separate. And I think that's going to fuck them. And it's come back to bite them in the ass every game this year that they've lost. And
Yeah.
I think this will be the prime example.
I'm pissed I let you lead off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I listened to Dominique Foxworth and Mina Kimes earlier today talking about it. And Fox was talking about the Jags and he said, I mean, you look at each position group on this team and they're good everywhere. Like this is the most I'm gonna say it. I think they're the most complete team in the NFL. I think this Jags team is like a special group, and I think the way we've seen Trevor Lawrence grow in the back half of the season is what we've been waiting for with him. And
I
like,
went from Trevor Lawrence. I got the bottle in my hand.
dude,
So
dude,
I think I would trust him with my
we
life right
need.
now.
You know what? We need to pull that clip back up because I was so, and so were you. We were both so out on him. Like I think I picked the Jags to go like 3-14 this year. Like that was the worst take
Yeah.
I've had like in making takes. Like I can't believe how wrong I was. I thought that the running attack would be good. I thought Tank Bigsby would still be here at this point in the
Yeah.
season, which with the resurgence he's had with the Birds, honestly it wouldn't hurt. But Tootin's been great. But yeah, I think this Jags team is fucking awesome. I think this Bills team is really flawed in
Yeah, it's one of
like
the worst iterations of the Bills
right,
that we've
and
seen. And
that's my thing is like, and you hit the nail on the head when you said that when people are looking around and seeing the quarterbacks, this is a Bills team that doesn't have half the chance that they had in these previous years. Like this defense sucks. Like they can't stop the run. Their DB fucking Tre'Davious White's back there is like their best DB. Like
yeah,
this is
it's just a new Kyrie Elam.
like it's
Yeah.
not a good team. It's Josh Allen and James Cook and a good run blocking offensive line. I don't think that's enough against the Jags. Like we've seen every time the Jags or the Bills have played a team with a good run defense and that can get after the quarterback, they really struggle. And the one time I think that didn't happen was the second Patriots game. But even then, the Patriots defense down the stretch wasn't anywhere close to what it was in the beginning of the year. Yeah, I'm going with the Jags. And I tried to in my head because how dumb I would feel if we're sitting here and Josh Allen just went ballistic and the Jags lost and Trevor Lawrence turns into a pumpkin. But I'm willing to put that on the line because
So,
I just have seen enough, which is insane, like to say out loud with how out I was on him. But I've just seen enough to think that his floor is still pretty fucking high, and he doesn't have
yeah.
to do that much to win this game.
And tell me if this is homo, but like when you see him in the post game pressers, like, do you feel more belief
Yeah,
than
he's
you?
special. He
He
puts
turned
the
into
grill
like he
on.
turned from a goofball to like I trust the poise. I feel it. Like that shit is you can feel that through the screen. It's amplified. Holy fuck if we're wrong. But I think this
We
game's
we are so
I,
good if we're wrong, dude.
I think this game's like actually 40-14. I
Yeah.
really do. I think they get fucking cooked.
I mean, on I hate saying on paper, but on paper, it's not really close personnel wise. Just if you go position, like I'm telling you, do the exercise, go through each unit of both teams. Besides that rushing attack for the Bills, they don't have any advantages in
Yeah.
this game.
And it's just like too I go back again, like John Harbaugh reminds me of Sean McDermott too. Like these even temperament guys who like don't really provide any edge. They just
CEOs.
like they've been like a solid rock for your team and they provide stability. The days of that should be fucking over. Like with Cohen, you can feel the edge. There's intensity. There's like a dog in him. I
Mhm.
like having a dog in your coach, and I think that defines and meshes well with the city of Jacksonville too. Like this game has all the makings of being just a complete ass kicking.
Oh, that would be so dope too. Yeah, I love what Cohen's brought this year. I'm just really excited. Like and Trevor, you can tell like I do think there is something to be said about how you play and the confidence it gives you and like I do think the swagger in the locker room and even like the shit with him like getting fucking bench pressed by some chick in a bar, like
Yeah,
all this shit is just like such positive stuff that
yeah.
you see from him now. And like it just feels like he's so much more comfortable in that role as like their franchise guy. And I think Cohen's been a fucking godsend for that offense. Yeah, I love this Jags team. I hate that this is who the Bills play in the first game because I wish this was gonna happen later in the playoffs.
No, it's the best thing that could happen for them.
Yeah, I think in the long run it is because it'll force them to
Yeah.
address like some of the infrastructural issues they have.
Who could
But
have thought
yeah,
though, a year where we come in with the Bills and the Ravens as our favorites, they could. I mean, I feel pretty confident that they're both going to be without their coach
yeah,
at the start of next year.
yeah, and also I feel like when we talk about Lawrence, he did have a playoff win where he had to come from behind and kind of put on a show in a
Yeah,
half at least. Like
and
he's
that would be
not
this
like
that would be the scare with them though, is he just completely.
yeah, he has that first half.
Yeah, but he looked good against the Chiefs that next game, and I just think this is a completely different human. So I'm not going to even. I don't think that's him.
Yeah. No, it's this
Yeah,
is special, Trev.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to our oh, fuck, I'm so excited for that game. Let's move on to 49ers and Eagles. This has become a rivalry, a
Yeah.
mainstay of the NFC playoffs. I'm really interested to get into this one. Who do you have in this one, or where do you think this game's won?
I'm going with the Birds, and I'm not like particularly like excited to watch this. Like it's
Hmm.
gonna take years off our life. That's probably not gonna look pretty.
Hmm.
99% of me feels like it won't be pretty, but yeah, I just think the Eagles stylistically, like with their defense, can give Seattle the same or give the
Yeah.
Niners the same problems that Seattle gave them last
Yeah.
week. And if they can plug up the run and these weapons aren't able to get going outside, like McCaffrey really looked like a shell of himself last game too. That's something that we didn't really touch on, but
Yeah.
if he's not able to get going, he's been the lifeblood of this team all year, and maybe the amount of touches has kind of just added up. I trust the Eagles defense still as a unit. The only reason that they've given you not to trust them is the Bears game. That's the only game
Yeah.
where it was like, wow, this is a repeat of 2023. Like everything just falls apart. But besides that, they've been a staple. And this would be a perfect get right game if the Eagles offense can just get going. I don't think they will. I think they win. And I think this is
It's gonna
like
be gritty.
16 to 9.
Yeah.
I see a lot of field goals, a lot of drives not being finished. I trust the Eagles. Eagles have the best unit in this game,
Yeah.
and that's their defense.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the best unit.
Yeah. I this 49ers defense sketches me. My thing with this game is, can the Eagles capitalize on the Niners defense? Like, can they get a semblance of a run game going? And can Hurts make some big plays the way we saw last postseason and start to make this passing offense look like a real threat?
Yeah.
And I,
Another point, not to cut you off. Another
yeah,
point
go for it.
is the Eagles haven't looked bad on offense in the first half. Usually, like usually they
Hmm.
have a better first half than they do second half.
Then they
So
stall. Yeah.
if you build a lead against the Niners team where we saw the stat last week, Kyle Shanahan's never won a game when he's trailing by 7 in the fourth quarter as the head coach of the 49ers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's
Which is
the
shocking.
who's to say that doesn't continue? And if the Eagles have like a 10-3 lead at halftime, I mean, the way the Eagles play football is exactly like what the Niners don't want to see
Right.
in terms of like they're not going to fuck up. They're not going to
Yeah.
shoot themselves in the foot. They'll literally do, they'll play the worst brand of football offensively not to shoot themselves in the foot. But who's to say a Kyle Shanahan led football team can take advantage of that? That's going to be the story of this game.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, and you started with this, is the Eagles defense isn't gonna let the 49ers only way to win this game is to put up points. Like that's it. And I just don't see a world where their offense is able to get busy the way they did against Chicago, say. Like
Yeah.
I don't see that kind of a performance happening. I first of all, I don't think Purdy's gonna have the time that he had in that game because the Bears had no pass rush. And I think, especially with the emergence of like Jalen Hunt, even like you're getting more than just the guys that we knew about. Like we knew about Jordan Davis, we knew about Jalen Carter, even Campbell. Like you're starting to see every single part of this defense, especially the secondary. Like you're seeing every single part of this defense sort of flourish. And I don't see a world where this iteration of the 49ers wins this game. I'm just not a believer in this 49ers team this year. With all the injuries they had on defense, I thought that they were playing way above their average. And yeah, I also think that the Eagles are one of the most difficult teams to assess in this postseason.
Yeah. I agree too. I wasn't a believer in the Niners either, but a lot of that had to come down to like I just didn't believe in Mac Jones early in the year. I think Purdy's still a top level quarterback, and even
Yeah,
if
so
it's
do
not
I.
a good showing, I don't think that's an indictment on him. I think the supporting cast here and just you're not able to keep anybody on the fucking field is, I mean, he's left out to dry.
Yeah,
Is Pearsall playing?
I think so. He played the
The Bears game, and he was great, and then he didn't play last week.
yeah, he didn't play the Seahawks game. I'm not sure if that was like more of like a management thing or if that was
I
just
mean, it's just pure glass.
yeah.
That's
So
what
I
it comes
mean,
down to.
I'd imagine he'd try to give it a go. I don't really know. But yeah, that'd be another huge hit. I mean, Kittle played, so they'll have him, they'll have CMC. Fucking Demarcus Robinson's been like kind of big for them. Juwan Jennings, obviously, third and Juwan. But yeah, I mean, this will be an interesting game. The Eagles are just such a weird team to me where like I could see them lose this game and I could see them just win the Super Bowl. Like no outcome for this Eagles team would surprise me.
I'm just at the point where I believe what they've put on tape all year.
Yeah.
And I just think that's exactly what the Niners, like the formula for the Eagles to win is exactly what the
Yeah.
Niners can't have happen. And I kind of just see it playing out exactly like the formula's been all year.
Yeah. It's a good matchup for the Eagles.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Like I think and we'll get into who they might play down the stretch, but I think there's some tougher matchups. Let's go Chargers at Pats. That'll be the Sunday night game. The Pats down the stretch showed cracks. I want to say I still think they're a good group. You had a lot of off the field shit going on with Diggs and Barmore. Like it just feels like the vibes are weird in New England right now. But they probably get a pretty favorable matchup here with the Chargers. What do you see here, and who do you have?
This might be the shocker. I'm taking the Chargers.
Wow, let's go.
And I just think in terms of when we've been talking, like everybody, we go back to the Bills game. Everybody's pointing to Allen as that guy who it's like he's the obvious, you know, Showtime quarterback left. I think Herbert is the carry job Herbert has put on all season with this team
Oh
has
yeah.
been incredible. And I think against a young Pats team without playoff experience, I don't think it's like Drake May plays bad or anything or implodes. I just think Herbert's going to do enough in this game to get his first playoff win. I don't know why I'm trusting in it, and if it's he doesn't get it done this time, and it's in like classic Herbert fashion as it's been in like past years, then I'll kind of change my tune. But the season Herbert's had this year has been incredible to me. It's been
Yeah.
his best season of his career, and the way he makes things happen with his legs, I think he's gonna put it all on the line. And I like the weapons on this Chargers team. It's just the offensive line is so putrid, and it's made it almost impossible to pick them. But this is the exact kind of game where I feel like nobody's gonna be really picking them.
Yeah.
Like this has been the shoe in kind of Patriots win for a lot of people. Picks wise, I'm going the Chargers. I think they are able to find a way to win. I don't. It's going to be close, 20-16. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah.
Give me
I
Herbert's
mean,
first playoff win.
I think the one thing about this is you look back at the Pats schedule, and we knew that the schedule was bad, but it really is like every big game they won, even like that Ravens game 4 weeks ago, which I wouldn't even call a big game, like that was a fucking sweat. Like there aren't many dominant performances against teams who are worth a damn if you
Yeah,
look at their resume. And I do think this is the perfect sort of like trap game for them where it's like we just assume that they're amongst the league's elite and maybe they just never really were in that tier. And we just got caught up in Drake May being special and their record being maybe a little bit inflated. I see that world. I do think the Pats pull this one out. I like them in this first round. Them getting Ramondre going down the stretch, even if it was against some dog shit opponents, I think that could be really helpful. And then the way that Travion's exploded, I think Diggs will play, despite him, I guess, beating the shit out of his chef, whatever the fuck
yeah.
that was.
They'll
So
all be figured out in the offseason, big bro. Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
they'll push that
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
So I mean, this is, I mean, we're also seeing maybe two very similar quarterbacks. Like I think Herbert and May are very similar.
You don't see the
Um,
coming of age for Herbert in this game, though. I think this is the exact kind of quarterback, like in terms of like getting out of the pocket and making things happen, that will give them problems, and they have more weapons than the Bills do. And that's the last
yeah,
game that the Pats lost, and they lost it in a fashion where they blew a 21-point lead just because of a special performance from a quarterback.
I just can't get over them not having tackles. Like,
That- I can't either, but it really hasn't hindered they've showed out against every good team this year except the Jaguars, who we think is the best team in the AFC right now.
yeah, but I also think they've had some wins where they don't look especially good
I don't think they
against
have to
bad
look
teams.
especially good in this game.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to be more competent than they've been in some of their bigger games. Like even that Eagles win, they look so fucking bad, man. Like that performance
That's a
doesn't
better
beat the
Eagles.
Pats.
Yeah, it's a better Eagles defense though.
But the way that the Eagles were playing at that time, like when that Chargers Eagles game happened, that was not.
The way their offense was playing at the time.
Yeah,
The
right.
Eagles
That's what I
defense
mean.
was
Like
oh
their offense was not a threat, like to
yeah.
score
I
points.
don't know.
The
I got
Pats are just a they're offensively they're a well-oiled
yeah.
machine.
I mean it's just at some point the quarterbacks this elite find a way to get a win. And I think it's Herbert's time, even with the shit supporting cast here in terms of offensive line. Like, yeah, we'll be under pressure. He's done it all season though. It's not
Yeah.
like this is a new thing. He's been doing it since fucking week 4, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess the reason I brought up that I think May and Herbert are similar is because I think you're seeing with May what you would see with Herbert in better infrastructure. Like I think like it's a mirror of like what it could be. And I just feel like May's playing better than Herbert because he's special, but also he just has a better infrastructure around him. And I just think in this game, I think the Pats have too much for the Chargers. So I'm gonna roll with
Yeah,
the Pats.
maybe part of it for me too is looking ahead because I love the way it lines up for the Chargers if they
Yeah,
get this done.
yeah. I mean, it's
Herbert owns the Broncos.
there's a couple games where like if you so I was using the little ESPN like playoff bracket thing, and I was just clicking through the matchups to see how everything lines up. And there's some games that like if it goes in the way of an upset, like the bracket really gets interesting. And
Yeah,
this is definitely one of those. Let's finish out the wild card round with Texans Steelers. And the Texans are coming into this, in a good spot because they've been hot and their defense looks great. A weird performance in the last week of the season with like some stakes on the line. I don't think it was like obviously it wasn't the same kind of stakes as these division deciding games and like number one seed deciding games in terms of the Seahawks Niners game, but like they could have won the division. So they played their starters and Mills came in like the second half when the Jags were up by 40 and they knew that
yeah.
they weren't going to be able to win the division. But a weird performance in that game. They go to Pittsburgh. Steelers coming off that big win. Is there any world where the Steelers win this game?
I don't think there's a world where the Steelers win this game. I think this game's going to be close just because the Texans, they just don't blow anybody out. It's not how they're going to win any games. But I don't see how the overwhelming talent that the Texans have on defense doesn't give the Steelers offense fits even with Metcalf back.
Yeah.
I can't see a world where the Steelers put up 24 points, which is what I think you have to put up for them to win this game. Like the Texans have a pretty solid floor where they will score between 17 and 21 points. And I just think that's going to get the job done. They're not going to do anything, they're not going to put a full game together on offense where everything's clicking just because they don't have the personnel in terms of run game and offensive line. But they find a way to put 17 to 21 points on the board, and I think that will be more than the Steelers put up. But I think the Steelers put up a fight. I don't think it's a blowout. I just think it might feel worse than the score indicates. I think it's going to be between 4 and 7 points in terms of margin. Just think the Texans will be wraps
Yeah.
for the Steelers.
Yeah. I want to believe that the Steelers being at home is enough to make this more interesting because I do think that will probably be one of the best home field advantages in these playoffs.
Yeah,
Because
you're moved by the atmosphere.
I am moved by the atmosphere. I'm not gonna lie. I am moved by the atmosphere in Pittsburgh. Every single time we've seen this Steelers team play a good defense, it ends the same way. And that Browns game 2 weeks ago epitomizes everything that is wrong with the Steelers team. And this Texans defense is maybe the only defense that gets after the quarterback the same way that Browns defense does. And they do it on the back end with better DBs. And like they're just a more complete defense than that Browns defense even is. And Rodgers looked fucking lost in that game. They were awful. And obviously they had no DK in that one. And it's like MVS fade routes in the red zone. So obviously it'll be different. And there were opportunities. There was meat on the bone there for the Steelers offense in that one. But man,
it's only different in who he's throwing to. It's not different in terms of what they do.
Right. And also, like, even if that's a fade ball, I know DK is a great contested catch guy, but even if you're running,
he's not really a notable red zone guy. He never really has been.
Yeah, he's more of like a weird intermediate. Like when you're at like the 35, he'll catch one like over the middle and like break one because he needs more space to like break free.
Yeah,
because he is such like a dynamic open field runner. But yeah, I just don't believe in the Steelers offense to like even in this one, like we've talked about how much we love Kenny Gainwell, and really it was only in the receiving game for him in this last game against the Ravens. He didn't get anything going on the ground. They were a few big Jaylen Warren runs away from this running game having like 50 total yards, which has been the story of the season. So yeah, right. I also think their defense showed a ton of flaws in the back end, and I think CJ Stroud and the healthy Nico Collins will be able to exploit that. Yeah. So I don't see a world. I really tried for like
me too.
A few hours today. They'll be like, is there any way?
Part of me wants to root for Rodgers too.
Yeah.
I think I've had the belief that the Texans group is defense is special for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that Ravens defense made him look a lot better than he is. Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to see Pittsburgh move on, but man, I can't go back on the way I've felt about this defense for Houston. Like they're really a special group, and it's one of the best like playoff swinging units in the league right now. Like I
Mm.
think they can really just fucking like take over. Let's look at this field and just give me some breakdowns of like how you see like which games do you think will be important and then which games do you want to see down the stretch in this playoffs?
What do you mean the first part? What do you mean?
Like
Which
like
games?
which like if say a Steelers win, a Chargers win, which games really break open the bracket and then which matchups do you want to see down the line?
Well, I mentioned it. I want to see Chargers Broncos big time because I think Herbert
Yeah.
he has the Broncos number. He has for a while, and he definitely has since Nick's been there. Like he's got their number, and I would love to see him in Denver again with odds stacked against him. Like that Denver D line's another one that you can put in that group of best teams that get after the passer against the shit Chargers O line. I just think I think Herbert's been battle tested enough now where he finds a way to make a run to the AFC Championship game. So I want to see that matchup.
That'd be fun.
Ram, yeah, Rams Seahawks would be a great one to see if it breaks that way.
The Bears would have to
Yeah,
beat the Packers for that one.
because that's exactly what the Seahawks don't want. It's because the Rams, even though the Seahawks were able to come back against them in the Thursday night game that we just saw, they still have Darnold's number for some reason. Like he can't not turn the ball over against this team. And I would lean that to be what would happen again. I just think that's the team that they don't want to fucking play. I really do. And for some reason, they are able to, like last game, I can't. We talk about how great the Seahawks D is. Like the Rams fucking got whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
So that's another, like divisional wise, that would be the two matchups that you'd really want to see. And then, like, I mean, if my picks go the way that I say they are, then it's gonna be Jags Texans, and I think that's like the two teams that I feel the best about in the AFC
Yeah.
to come out. So I think that would be a great game. It's 1v1 in the series this year. And I think the Texans would give the Jags like the most issues out of any team just
Yeah.
because they can really stifle what they want to do on offense.
That game
So
would
those would be
so
three like divisional matchups that I love. And the last one would be Eagles. What would that matchup be? Eagles.
Well, it depends how the
No,
Packers
yeah,
game goes.
Eagles Packers if it goes how I or
No, it would be
oh yeah,
Seahawks,
yeah, yeah,
Packers,
yeah,
Eagles,
yeah.
Rams.
Yeah. I don't really want to say I kind of feel like we know what happens in Eagles Rams nowadays. Like I bet the Eagles would somehow come out.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of tired of seeing the Eagles play the Rams, to be honest. And then looking ahead, championship game wise, like if it goes the way I say it is, then I mean, seeing a rematch of Chargers Jags of that playoff game 3 years ago.
Herbert gets a chance to avenge his
Yeah,
demons.
and they got their ass whooped this year too. Like I think that's just a fun matchup on paper that people aren't really thinking about, but that would have some good storylines going into it.
Hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the game that opens up the bracket on the NFC side is the Bears Packers game because I think the Packers winning that game sets up a really predictable NFC bracket. I think that's the obvious way that the Eagles to me come out of the NFC because I just think Eagles if they play Niners, Rams, Seahawks, if they play those three NFC West teams, that's a gauntlet for sure. But for some reason to me that's like the Eagles are better
They have demons
against
against Seattle though.
yeah,
They have since like 2010.
especially going to Seattle, like even that Drew Lock game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you believing in fucking Sam Darnold in an NFC Championship game?
No,
That
but
reeks of Case Keenum against the Birds, like the first Super Bowl.
yeah, but that's in Philly.
Yeah, no, I know that's
It's just different.
the 12th man.
It's Seattle owns them in Philly and in Seattle. And I don't give a fuck that it's different teams. Like that shit, again, it's the same thing with the Bears and the Packers. That shit like holds weight for some reason.
Mm.
At least for me, it just that type of shit just does.
Yeah. I'd have the Eagles in that one. But that's the game, I think, because then if the Bears win, then it's Bears Eagles rematch. And then it's Seahawks Rams. Bears Eagles rematch would be fun. It's style on style. Seahawks Rams obviously would be cinema. I think that's a more fun divisional round,
Yeah.
probably. But me as a Packers fan, of course, I'm pulling for my guys. So that's that. I have Seahawks Packers, Eagles Rams, and then I have Eagles Seahawks, my NFC chip. On the AFC side, that Jags Bills game is the one that breaks the bracket open to me. I have the Jags, you have the Jags. I have Broncos Texans and then Jags Pats in the divisional round.
Broncos Texans would be a cinema matchup in terms
That
of
would be cinema.
defense.
Really low scoring. Probably wouldn't be the most fun watch if you're not like a sicko. Luckily we are.
Games in Denver are fun to watch. I
Yeah.
don't care. Like the
Mile
playoff
highs.
Denver. But yeah.
Yeah, mile highs, Sean Payton, mile
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
But I have Jags Texans as my AFC chip. And I want that to be the AFC chip so badly because just divisional matchup. They're the two hottest teams
Yeah.
maybe in the NFL right now.
They are 9-game win streak for the Texans.
Yeah.
And what is it for the Jags? They got 13 wins. They were 8 straight for the Jags, I think.
Yeah, let's see.
I think it's 8.
Yeah, yeah. 8 straight for the Jags, 9 straight for the Texans. Yeah, I mean it's the two hottest teams in the
Yeah.
NFL.
And that'll be like the AFC South finally stamping themselves as
Yeah.
like a
So
legit powerhouse in the NFL, which I kind of like.
yeah, I mean, I just think that game would be so fun. And then I think those two championship games, I think those are the four best teams in the NFL to me. Seahawks, Eagles, Texans, Jags. Who do you have in your Super Bowl? Because in your bracket, it's Jags, Texans, the divisional. So
Yeah,
then you'd
which is,
have you said Chargers, Jags in your FC chip.
yeah. Well, I said that'd be a fun matchup. It's so
Yeah,
tough for me because I just feel like a unit like the Texans, as special as they are, like that, just typically in history has ended up panning out. So if they're as special as I say they are, am I willing to go that far? I don't think I do. I think at this point I do feel better about the Jags. I do. I think I go Jags out of the AFC and like gun to my head right now. So if the bracket it's gonna be Eagles Rams. If it, yeah, I would have to pick the Eagles in
so
that.
you have Rams over Seahawks.
No, like if the bracket plays out the way I'd say it will, it's gonna be Packers
Oh right,
Seahawks.
you have Packers.
So I would go Eagles over Rams just because they have a chokehold over them too.
Hmm.
And then it'd be Eagles Seahawks.
We have the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, I'd go Eagles Jags.
Yeah, we have the same Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Let's go. And
yeah,
you have
yeah.
Birds.
I think I have the Jags, dude. I think I
Wow, let's
should. Yeah,
go.
yeah. I don't know, man, but what has happened to me in the last month, but I feel really good about the Jags team.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's either like I feel pretty. I would say either Jags, Eagles, or Jags Rams. I think
Mhm.
I just lean Jags over the Texans right now, but I hope that doesn't come back to bite me because I've been stamping the Texans all year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's. I think either way, who wins that Jags Texans game? I do think one of the two comes out of the AFC. Denver would be the honorable mention to me.
I
I
think I
think
feel worse about them than any team.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, whoever
actually,
they
the
play
Bills I feel the worst about in the AFC.
in the AFC,
But
worse than the Steelers.
no, I kind of just disregard the Steelers. My bad. Yeah, so if Steelers would be. Let's do this actually. Let's do
Yeah.
confidence ratings on it. How would we really actually see these teams coming in? It'd be Jags 1 for me, be
Mhm.
Texans 2. Who would be my 3?
Pats.
No, I think I feel better about the Chargers just because I.
Okay.
But yeah, they're neck and neck. Chargers 3, Pats 4. Who am I missing? Who's the 5?
Broncos.
So no, they would be the Broncos would be my 6, and the Steelers would be the 7. Or the Bills. Yeah, so I'd probably go Bills 5, Broncos 6, Steelers 7.
Damn, Broncos 6.
Yeah, so I I feel terrible that they're like,
Yeah. I think so,
and you, I might be such a hypocrite because you could probably come back around and say the same thing about the Texans. I just don't think that the Broncos defense is nearly as special as the Texans defense. I think I've seen more cracks in the armor for the Broncos defense than I have for the Texans.
so then I guess if the Bills won that Jags game and it was Bills Broncos, you'd have the Bills.
Yeah, I think I'd have to.
I don't think I'd go there. I think the Broncos. I think the Broncos are a terrible match, but I also think the Jags are a terrible matchup for the Bills. So I guess if they came out of that game, fuck it, all hell breaks loose. But I'm on the same Super Bowl as you, Eagles Jags. I just have the other outcome, and I have a fun ending to the game. Tank Bigsby gets a fucking touchdown to seal the Super Bowl against his former team
That's
and
good stuff
fucking
right
lifts
there.
the trophy. That's how
All
the
right.
season ends.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, give me your confidence rating and like actually, no, do it. How do you feel about the AFC confidence rating? Because I feel like it's more interesting than the NFC, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the AFC is interesting because I just think there's gonna be a lot of parity. I would go. I'm Jags one. I'm Jags one. Texans two. I'm way higher on the Broncos than you are. I just think that defense is really fucking good. I'm gonna go Broncos three. Pats four. Bills five. Am I missing a team?
Yeah, Chargers six
Oh,
and
Chargers six. Steelers seven. I'm not.
that's
I'm
it.
not that sold on the Chargers. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think this is the perfect team by any means. I just think it's the grittiest Chargers team.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, and they're used to this at this point. It's not they know exactly how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think they have a formula like that
yeah,
defense. They know how to win games, and the run game's been better, especially with Hampton back in the fold. They're gonna be a tough out, but yeah, it's gonna be fucking cinema. We get games coming up this weekend. Can't wait. There's so many like little factors that I think could swing so many of these games.
it's the most
Like,
hype I've been for a playoffs in a
yeah, it's just so wide open,
yeah,
honestly. Like, not since like that. What was the year? Oh yeah, that was the Foles year when it was like fucking
2017.
Bortles in the AFC chip.
Yeah,
Like it was just wide open. It was like
yeah,
Bortles versus the Pats and Eagles, Vikings. Like it was just fucking weird. Like I
yeah,
think we're gonna get one
yeah.
of those playoffs.
Definitely. But even more so this year, I feel like you have less familiar faces in the fold. Like at that point, it's still in the AFC, you still had Brady, you still had Roethlisberger,
Hmm.
like in the field at
Yeah,
least.
it was
Uh,
like cooked,
well,
Big
yeah,
Ben.
yeah. Not yet, not yet.
Dude. That year, I was
No, no, that
I'm
definitely.
also
Yeah.
I'm a Big Ben hater. I was out on Big Ben before I should have been, just because I'm a hater.
He wasn't cooked by that. Yeah, you have to be a hater to say he was cooked then.
I am a fucking hater, dude. Big Ben's like my least favorite fucking.
I mean, they let the Jags put 45 up on them. So they
Yeah,
lost
the
45
defense was
42.
brutal. That defense was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was what, the 17 season?
Yeah.
That was yeah. Yeah. Who is the one team that you think could make a run that people aren't talking about enough?
I think I said it, the Chargers.
The Chargers?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think in a flawed AFC, they have the path to have this bracket break right for them where I like where it could go. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a Pats team that I I think we're all equally kind of skeptical on. We don't really know.
Yeah.
And this game's gonna be very telling for how we feel about them. And then you have a matchup with Denver with the team that he's owned. So
Yeah. There's also a world where the Pats blow out the Chargers and we're sitting here like, oh fuck, did we
yeah, and
underrate?
I'll completely change my tune.
Yeah.
I think this is the time. And
Yeah.
I
It has to be.
it's gotta be the time. It
Yeah.
has to. It really does have to.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there's like next year he'll get Alt back and
Yeah,
they'll
no,
be healthier.
he'll get a pass for this, but it can't if it looks bad, it's
Yeah.
that you the people who don't like him are gonna be very loud. And for good reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and then I guess just the one last thing is who do you have for your MVP? Stafford or May?
I would lean I think you have to go Steph.
the numbers, man. It's
Yeah.
46 tuds, 8 picks. And I know like the volume stuff.
And it's also age. I think age is going to factor
Yeah.
into how Stafford has more fanboys than May does at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
And
Ooh, I don't know. There's a lot of Drake May stands though.
yeah, but media wise, the
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who actually have votes.
Hmm.
But Boston media does hold some weight though, so maybe I can kind of run that one back a little bit. But I think for majority of voters who don't have like any Boston bias, they're gonna look at the age and be like, May's gonna have more opportunities down the line,
Hmm.
and I think that's where you're gonna have the votes lean Stafford. It's gonna be close. I think it's be like a 60-40 split.
Yeah. It's also insane. Stafford winning his first MVP in his age 37 season.
Yeah,
Fucking nuts, dude. Like that's like in any sport, it's like those like late resurgence slash like reaching a peak, like
yeah. I
late in
mean,
career.
but in
Those
our
are always fun.
generation, yeah, in our generation, the best quarterbacks also or always seem to have a second prime.
Yeah.
Like Brady, obviously, but Rodgers from that 2019 to
Yeah.
21 era. I mean, Breeze with those good teams from like 17 through, I would say 19 was probably the last really good team that they had.
Yeah.
I mean,
The Brady Bucks
Manning,
years.
Yeah, Peyton after neck surgery for 3 years in Denver.
Yeah.
Like the quarterbacks who establish themselves as the top tier talents always seem to have a second prime, and you'll probably see that with Mahomes too. Like there's going to be a lull here for 2 years, probably maybe three, and then we'll see that ascension again.
Yeah. But it's almost like this is his like peak. Like I think the difference between like those guys and Stafford is like Rodgers peaked in like 2010, 2011. Like his absolute like highest highs. Like 2011, he was unfucking believable. The 15-1 year, that I will go to my grave saying that's the best quarterback I've ever watched. And then he had like the around the COVID era where he was like winning MVPs again. But it feels like Stafford is like reaching heights he never reached at
Yeah, all right, yeah,
37,
that's a good point. Honestly, that's a good point.
which is
But
fucking wild to me.
even with the Rams, it felt like they went all in the first year, and then I mean, people forget how putrid that second year
Yeah.
was with him with the Rams. And like it thought his shoulder was cooked,
Yeah. I thought he was done.
and then you get the godsend to get him Puka and kind of become relevant again.
Yeah. Special.
Yeah.
Special. One last thing from the world of the NBA. We have to talk hoops here. Come on, man. Come and get this bag work. Trae Young is now working with his agent to find a deal out of Atlanta. Bobby Marks reported that, and Shams reported that the top destination right now is the Washington Wizards.
It just can't be.
What do we make of all this? Where do you want to see Trae?
I mean,
You want to see him
I guess
anywhere?
I was fucking not really, but I guess I was full of like I'm a piece of shit for saying that he should be in the Giannis deal. I guess I didn't realize his market was that bad. Like I don't feel
Yeah,
good
it's
about him as a
bad.
player at all, but I just thought they're a team like the Bucks who are just like see the writing on the wall with their situation are just like fuck it.
Bucks would be
Um,
kind of fun.
I guess not, dude. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is really the reality of the situation. And other guards, if this does end up happening, this is the one point I want to make about this. If this does end up happening and he does get traded to Washington for fucking fuck all, and who cares if it's McCollum or whatever pieces come back, the other guards who aren't efficient and haven't helped their team win should fucking beware because, I
Yeah.
mean, that's your first ticket out of the league right there. Like, that's the first domino to fall before you become a guy where they're like, you give us be our microwave off the bench.
Yeah.
And then it slowly starts to trickle. So if this truly does happen in a guard who's, I mean, how old is he? Like 27?
Yeah, I think he's 27, 28.
A guard who theoretically should be in his prime is getting sent to the death of basketball, the hellhole of a team that just has no direction in the Wizards right now. It, beware. Just beware. It could get scary for some other guards out there. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, and the other thing with Trey is you'd think with his deal where he's on the last year of a deal and then he has a player option next year, you'd think there'd be a market for like some money coming off the books and just like taking a flyer on Trey Young and like a huge contract where like you just create cap space for the following summer. There's no part of you that's like Trey Young and Sarr is kind of cinema.
No, not at fucking all. I thought the Wizards with actual veterans in the locker room with some form of young talent this year would be.
Yeah,
I mean,
Middleton
I
and
was kind of trolling with top six, but I thought they'd be a fun team to watch just because they had good veterans around them that high IQ. But I mean, it's still fucking bleak as shit. So no, I
yeah.
don't fucking think Trae Young and Alexander Sarr is gonna be.
Pissed.
Yeah,
So
fuck
pissed.
no. That's the beginning of the end for Trae Young. Like I'm telling you, that's when you become a fucking. You're on your Jordan Clarkson arc after that.
Let
Like
me
you're going to be asked to be, if you want to be in any kind of winning situation, he's going to be asked to come off the bench by age 29, 30.
let me let me let me ISO for a second.
All right.
You have one season of Trae Young, and then there's a player option. You have Alex Sarr playing the best basketball of his young career this season. You have Trae Young, a guard who excels with a big man to play off of, who fits his skill set, who will rim run a little bit, and who can pop and shoot a little bit. We thought Porzingis was like the perfect fit
No, I thought you were
for
going to say
Trae Young.
John Collins.
Well, John Collins too. If he can help Sarr develop for a season, and then you get his money off the books, and you get rid of CJ McCollum, if you don't have to give up too much in the way of draft capital, is it kind of a sneaky like 3D chess move from Washington?
No, because I don't think he has any desire to fucking help Alexander Starr develop.
No, but he
Yeah,
won't it won't have to be like direct. Like it doesn't have to be like he's there to be like his mentor. It's just
that
like
that
by
that feel
virtue of him playing with Sarr.
that feeling would be imminent in the organization, and he would feel that too, and that would rub him the wrong way.
I'm just
Yeah,
trying to fucking find some roses here,
I'm sorry,
man.
I'm anti that. I'm heavy anti that. Rather
Yeah.
the brother be in Sacramento. Like I feel fucking
Oh
more.
fuck.
I feel
See,
better
that's a
about
team.
that.
That's a team who would give up too much draft capital to get a
Yeah,
Trae
and
Young.
I can actually see. I just like the Wizards is just it's why.
Grizzlies. Trae Young to
Um,
the Grizzlies for John Morant. Challenge trade.
yeah, I mean we kind of talked about this pre-pod. I was saying, yeah, that's I mean that's worst case for John Moran. If you can't make it in Memphis where there's absolutely nothing to do and it gives off the aura of being hood and kind of matches exactly
Easy.
like. No, I'm just saying like.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you.
With the way that he wants to have like his persona be, and I mean he had that, and like there was belief in that before he kind of made a mockery of himself.
Yeah.
Atlanta's just not the place where I could see him thrive.
Yeah.
I think that would be worse for him. I think I could see Trae Young actually like having more success in Memphis than he is currently right now. Just I mean,
Yeah. I think they, well, yeah, I think also John Atlanta is a bad fit. He doesn't fit with their offense because they don't need uh basically non-shooting guard who's a worse defender than Dyson
they just don't need
Daniels.
to have the ball out of.
Jalen Johnson's
No, it's the
hands.
same. No,
Yeah.
you have to build the Hawks have to build that like a Celtics team where
Yeah.
theoretically you have another
Make him the
wing next
Tatum.
to yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough with Trae because like it just does feel like he's gonna just not like get blackballed from the league, but like it feels like his days as being like relevant are very numbered.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's like 2 years away from being a microwave bench scorer.
Yeah, maybe
Just
even less.
yeah,
Like
just I mean, honestly, if I'm him, I would embrace being the Lil Will for a team.
he, if I'm him, I go to fucking one of these dog shit teams and try to get a bag and be their best player for like 5 years. Go to
Yeah,
Washington.
yeah. In terms of
Try to
like,
get another
yeah,
contract.
you're right. In terms of getting money, yeah, that's the way to
Like
go.
on
Like,
his
yeah,
like for
go
his
go
perspective.
the MPJ route. That honestly,
Yeah.
it's a great point. Yeah, honestly, I didn't think of it in terms of like a player, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
maximize my earnings. But if you're trying to maximize your time in the league, and maybe you could make the point that that would maximize his earnings down the line, just with the time that he could stay in the league, it
Mhm.
would be as a like fit wise, it's as a microwave scorer off the bench.
One last
That
thing
would be his
on
role.
the Wizards fit. Is he also not what the Wizards desperately need for their other young guards, and even for Bilal. Like they need so desperately, they need a competent ball handler and a table setter for
What?
Trey Johnson, for Bub, for Bilal, and for Sar. Like for every piece of their young core, Trey kind of makes sense.
Yeah, maybe I'm downplaying it a little bit. I just so fucking yucky.
It is optically, it is so fucking dire and bleak. But like, I don't know. I've kind of talked myself into,
You're talking me into it a little bit.
well,
Like,
he's
yeah,
just
I mean,
so
I
he's
guess
just
because
at such like a crossroads that like fuck it, man. Like he has to try a new slant. Like it can't be like he's the guy anymore. It has to be like he jumpstarts something.
yeah, I mean that's still being the guy here.
Yeah, but like being the guy, but like where the organization kind of knows like we're kind of just like using him to get these guys better. Like to make
Yeah,
this
but I mean,
situation work.
if he does, then they might actually look half decent, and they probably shell out money to him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
What right, which is sort of how those situations flop, which is
Yeah,
like you get the guy who jumpstarts it and makes it competent, and then you realize that you're capped, but then you've given resources to this guy who probably can't get you to where you need to go.
I mean, if they have the big brain play in minds like that, then maybe I could get behind that. Just I
That's the other
can't
thing
say,
is, do the
yeah,
Wizards see that?
I can't see them having the foresight and then the mental fortitude to like even if it plays out well to be like we're sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
Nah,
Because there would also be some fucking bumpy patches, dude. Like
yeah.
you can already imagine like that arena on a night where Trey goes like 4 for 27.
I can't imagine that arena having any life to it.
Like having any people in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe that's the other reason you
yeah,
need
yeah.
Trey Young in the fucking building. Put some people in seats. Put some Trey Young jerseys in the fucking stands.
All right. I think that's a bad point because there's nobody in the fucking stands in Atlanta either. It's one of the worst atmospheres in basketball.
Yeah, it
They
is.
truly is.
Yeah, it was some cinematic Hawks Knicks series though. Come on.
It was, but it was cinematic because of what it pulled off in the Garden. It had
Right.
nothing. I think there is no person on earth that was like, wow, Atlanta was really rocking back then.
Wow. They had that fucking place booming. What's their arena called?
Nah,
I don't even
I don't
know.
know. I don't know the names of like any arenas these days.
Yeah.
Like it
Oh
probably,
yeah, because they changed names like 10
yeah,
times.
yeah, the Frosty Smoothie come
Yeah.
come fucky sucky arena. Yeah, yeah. Maybe he
State
needs to go to
Farm
a place
Arena.
where there's some fucking life because
Yeah.
you could also make the point that like the worst thing for him is to be in a place where it feels like basketball doesn't matter, and that's kind of just in terms of basketball atmosphere that's how Atlanta feels, which is why I kind of like him in Memphis because Memphis has always been a good basketball atmosphere. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm biased in that, but I've seen that place
No,
get
no,
rocking.
no.
It
Yeah.
has a completely different feel than Atlanta ever has in a playoff series.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be fun. It's much tougher to find a situation where Trey Young is in like a winning scenario and he's a part of it. Like that's becoming tougher and tougher to piece together because it might not exist.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, you can't blame Atlanta for not trying different fucking things.
Yeah.
They've tried like everything. They've tried a tall guard who's known for defense next to him. You, there's some blame to be on DeJounte because he just wasn't a good defender in
Yeah, he
Atlanta for
wasn't
some
good.
reason. Yeah, he just like, kind of
After
fucked his
being
career.
like special in
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Antonio defensively.
And then they've put Jalen Johnson and young guys around. But who has developed around Trae Young in his career? That's why that would be
Do
my
you
counterpoint to what you said
Yeah,
with the Wizards. What
that's
young
true.
player has fucking thrived with him?
Yeah. I think and maybe Bub's just not good, but like I think the ball's in Bub Carrington's hands way too much in Washington right now. And I think there's something to be said about having him play a little bit more off ball and as like a secondary ball handler. And Trey Johnson too, because he's great off the catch. I don't know. It's just I think Trey Young's best possible fit is probably like a playing team. Like Atlanta, like Atlanta, but like not with a guy behind him who's way better than him, who needs him out of the picture with Jalen
I
Johnson.
think at this team, actually, you probably won't. I do like Portland.
Portland's fun.
Do you want the ball out of Denny's hands though? That's The
Yeah.
thing you got to ask
Like
yourself.
anywhere you look, and this is what you talked about in the
No,
beginning
I
is
mean
like,
Memphis honestly like might be the best fit, dude.
yeah, some special shooting there if you had him and Triple J.
And
Mm.
he matches the. I mean, in terms of like defensive prowess, like he matches the whole team's fucking soft as shit anyway. So
They
it
should
really
just
can't
lean into
hurt.
the bit and just like try
It-
to score 150 every night.
yeah, the whole team's so fucking soft. I hate the Grizzlies, dude. God, this team turned into everything I hate about basketball. Like they
Which is
like
so fucking weird for them specifically
yeah.
because that's what the Grizzlies like are. Like they
Yeah,
are grit and grind.
yeah, fuck Zach Kleiman. Ruined everything.
It is sad as fuck. But we'll see. We'll see. I think this is the first domino too. Like Trey asking out. Also, we're
What about
approaching. Go for
I
it.
got one idea. What about Trey for Paulo?
Why would the Magic do that?
Why would I don't think I could make a case that I don't love
I feel
Paulo
like you're
in
way
that
more out
situation.
on Paolo than I am.
Not a good player.
Like at all?
If this continues, he's the worst jump shooter in the league.
Oh yeah, it's bad. I
And
think the problem with Paolo
his
is
shot diet is terrible. Like
yeah,
he will
that
willingly take it. So if everything like his splits stay the same as they have since this shoulder surgery, which we get further and further away from last
yeah.
year, then yeah, I would like Trey
You
there
don't
as
think his value like just defensively
and I would
and
like Paulo a lot more in Atlanta because I think that's exactly the kind of mold you want to build is two wings and then defense around them. But
yeah,
Paulo has actively made the Magic's defense worse, and he's actively hurt their offense. Like, I mean, he's one of the worst players in the league this year in terms of
I mean, yeah, by a lot of advanced
yeah.
metrics, he is. Also, that should be just be Franz's team. Yeah. I mean, you're turning me into a Paolo hater, but I think the problem with Paolo is that he A thinks he's a one, like he's a 1A, and B is being told by his organization that he's a 1A and is getting paid like he's a 1A. So then he plays like he's 1A and he's not. And I think as like a connective piece, there's a world where Paolo Banchero is like really instrumental to a contending team. I just think that he's probably never going to be that guy because I think his whole career will be trying to reach his top end talent and match that with efficiency, which I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah. I don't know. I think flipping the page for these
I
guys
just
would
don't,
like I like that trade in theory just because it's but you
yeah,
kind of
it's
put
a
Paul in
challenge
this
trade.
you kind of put Paul in the same situation as he has been with the Magic
Yeah.
for his
I
whole
also
career.
just
So
don't
maybe I
think
don't like it. I
there's
kind of like it for Trey though and the Magic just because where do you hang your hat right now? What side of the ball? You don't really know with the Magic.
yeah.
So commit to something. I don't know. That's an idea.
Yeah. I I just don't see like Paolo's also what 22, 23. Like what's the market for Trae Young right now? Like you'd have to attach picks to that. You'd have to probably give up at least. Do you think you have to give up two firsts or just one first and like a second and players,
I
other
don't know,
players?
man. Maybe I have to give up a pick for him to go to China. Like I can't tell you this Wizards thing. It blows my mind.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see with the Trae Young sweepstakes and or low stakes. And then we'll see what other dominoes fall. We're getting to that sweet, sweet slop time for NBA trades. Folks, enjoy the playoffs.
Long ass episode.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time. Deuces.